On this trip I'm setting out along the Aire and Calder navigation. It was built to link the rivers of the northeast, giving the industrial cities of the north access to the east coast and the world beyond. I'll be starting out along the River Humber, then the River Ouse, and then along the Aire and Calder navigation towards Leeds. This canal is still an important commercial waterway, and enthusiasts are determined to keep it that way. Along my route I'll be all at sea, getting even fitter than before and tasting Yorkshire's answer to French champagne. I'll be meeting the people who live, work and play along the canal's length. This isn't the sort of quiet, calm, countryside canal marina we're used to. I've come to the big business port of Hull alongside the mighty River Humber, and I'm going to travel from here along the oldest canal in Britain still in commercial use. I'm going to join the Humber Princess, carrying its cargo of oil, the equivalent of 11 lorries worth in one single load. Hello.
Hello, John. Pleased to meet you.
You're Trent.
Yeah, I'm the captain this morning.
Right, and we're going to take it, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to take it. Yeah, me and you are going to take it all the way there, John. All the way.
Skipper Duane Ball will be taking me over 30 miles on his 200-foot long barge from Hull Docks, down along the River Humber, beneath the Humber Bridge, and on to the inland port of Goole. Can I have a go?
Yes, no problem, John. Have a go.
Well, what's this? Why haven't I got a break big
No,
wheel?
this is a tiller wheel. This is we're in the 21st century now, John. There's no need for the spokes anymore.
All right, well, I thought I was going to be doing this.
No, them days are gone now, John.
It's a bit more like a computer game.
Now fetch your back, please, John, to midship.
That way?
Yeah, back to midship. Just
Your voice is getting a little bit nervous. What about the horn? Can I press the horn?
Yeah, you can press the horn, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pity that isn't some small boat that we could just do that to. Give them a bit of a fright. Oh, well.
Below the wheelhouse down, there we go. Look, this is for getting under the bridges in the canal system.
Right.
It will go down all the way, John, but that's as far as we want to go for today.
Right. So can I press it to
Yeah,
go back
you can
up
press
again?
it back up, John. Up we go. Second floor.
And the masts have to go down too.
Yeah, the masts have to go down, all the railings, the radar, everything has to go down for us to get underneath the bridges.
So up the canals?
Yes, up the canals, up to Rotherham, Leeds, Ferry Bridge, and that's what it was built for in the 1970s.
Yeah, that's great. This was one of the great trading routes of Britain. When the alternative was to use primitive roads, this was a vital artery. It was fully opened up by the Aire and Calder Navigation Company in 1826. We're now in the River Ouse.
In the River Ouse.
Yeah, right. Narrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite narrow. Getting narrow.
Getting narrow, yeah.
We head on to Goole, Britain's most inland port. So the gates are closing now.
Yeah.
Goole was a very important shipping port. Coal was brought down here by canal from the Yorkshire pits and loaded on to seagoing vessels. They used an ingenious hoist which lifted the coal up in huge tubs from the water and poured it into the holds of ships. And the hoist is still here today. Since 1986, the coal trade is no more, but some of these tubs can still be seen. They were unique to the Aire and Calder and were known as Tom Puddings. All of Chris Sherborne's family worked on them. Right, there it is inside Tom Pudding.
20 tonne of coal in there.
And what would they do?
This was towed up the canal backwards, empty, to the pits, and the pits usually had a small railway out of the pit down to the canal side. Then there was all coupled together in a chain and towed back down to Goole to the hoist. The Tom Puddings pretty much moved most of the coal over the last 150 years from the pits from West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire.
To pull this, though, you need a tug, don't you?
You need a tug, yeah.
And this is one of those that pulled all these Tom puddings.
That's the very one, yes. One of only 6 that was made for that job in particular. We took it down the Thames for the Queen's pageant.
So that must have been something.
That was something else, yes.
So you were one of the boats in the royal pageant, were you?
Yeah, we was the first of the commercial craft. There we go. It was lovely, yeah. We put my dad back aboard when we got down there, and we actually gave him the wheel. He actually went past the Queen. He steered past the Queen. So we can say he's pretty much done everything he could do with one of these type of tugs.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you. The Aire and Calder navigation was England's leading cargo route, able to take barges of up to 700 tons. Coal and grain were the main freight, up to 2.5 million tons a year, as well as aggregates, steel, timber and oil. The canal linked Goole to the industrial cities of the north, Rotherham, Wakefield and Leeds, which is where I'm heading with skipper Gerald Jones. We're now in the Aire and Calder navigation.
We are in the Aire and Calder navigation.
Where it becomes a bit more like an ordinary canal.
Yes.
And why is it so wide?
To provide a constant level, because the wider it is, the more water it holds. A lot of ships come in the dock, the water's got to come from somewhere here. So by having it wider, it takes longer to drop. And the other reason, of course, is that barges have got bigger and bigger, like the one you came up today.
Yeah.
And they need more room to be able to steer and manoeuvre themselves better.
And it means, like the one we were on, earlier today, it means they could come all the way down here without any difficulty at all.
That's right.
Yeah.
And further on, it's even wider.
A large waterway running slap through the Yorkshire coalfields attracted factories along its banks. In 1828, the journey from Goole to Leeds could be done in just 8 hours. This was a commercial highway. On the back of the canal, industrial developments in towns such as Castleford thrived with innovators and entrepreneurs. One of these was a Manchester doctor called Thomas Allinson, whose company bought this flour mill in Castleford. Allinson was a radical thinker ahead of his time. He believed in vegetarianism, alternative medicine, and above all, in a healthy diet. I always advise people to eat brown bread. Those who eat white bread often suffer from inward craving. To cure this, recourse is often made to beer, wine, or spirits. If they ate brown bread, we should be a more sober nation. And not just brown bread, but bread made with flour ground between 2 huge stones, stone ground, to keep nutrients which might otherwise be lost. Steve Norman keeps the old grinding wheel turning. Right, and this is the largest stone grinding mill in the country.
It is. This would actually flip over onto the top and sit on top of there.
So why did the Allinson family, when they were running this place, why did they need this particular system of stone grinding?
There's nothing wasted. Everything that goes in is in that bread. It gives you all the nutrients. The big slogan is "Nout, take nout."
Here we go. This is the wheat, and you just put it in here.
Just put it in there. Keep it topped up. I'm going to get this stone started by a tap on the floor.
Right.
And there you go now. You can see the wheat.
They use electricity now, but it's the stones that still do the grinding. You'll notice how well I've done this. Look at that. Nout taken out there.
Nout take nout. Beautiful wheat. There you go.
Right. Thanks very much.
Not a problem.
And that makes me rather proud. Who am I? You can call me the Master Grinder. From Castleford, the canal has 11 miles to go to Leeds, but I'm going to take a detour to the left down the Wakefield branch to Stanley Ferry, southeast of Leeds. I'm going to a factory upon which the entire canal system depends. Here they make lock gates for a whole canal network. It's a specialised craft using techniques handed down over 200 years. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, John.
Andrew Bayliss is in charge. What's it made of?
This is British oak.
Good. That's good. Lord Nelson would have approved of that. Good old British oak. So when was this system designed? I mean, how old is it?
Oh, hundreds of years is this design. We basically followed it exactly the same way they did hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
And this is a completed one. This is one I made earlier.
That's correct.
It's good, isn't it?
Well, basically this is what we call a D-hoop on top of the actual lock gate itself.
Yeah.
And this is a tenon, where the balance beam goes on the actual lock gate itself.
Yes.
We've got T's and L's, which sandwich the joint to make them stronger.
Mm-hmm. What do these do? Do these put it all together?
That's correct, yeah. They're what we call a tie bar.
And how long will it last?
Roughly around about 25 years.
25 years, right. But it's only here, in this place, that people know about how to make lock gates.
That's correct, yeah.
Without this place, the whole of the waterway system, that's it. It's the end, isn't it?
Yes, it would certainly go into disrepair, that's certainly.
Yeah.
This is what we call a pin, and each region has different types of pins.
Can you look at that and say I know where that's going to go?
That's correct, yeah.
What is it?
That's an Oxford pin.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's an Oxford pin?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it looks a bit academic. How much they vary, the lock gates?
Well, every lock chamber is different.
So each one of these is tailor-made?
Well, we go out and measure on site, and then we've got records going back years, which we can actually compare the new dimensions, what we've got on site.
So it is like tailoring, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, but about this and heritage. Yes. Heritage to the nearest millimetre.
Yes.
Gosh, I never thought I'd like lock gates as much as I do now. This Grand Canal still carries thousands of tons of cargo a year. But despite the industry, it can also be incredibly peaceful. I'm now well over halfway from Goole to Leeds, and at the end of a long day, a quiet mooring is just what I need. I'm outside Stanley Ferry on the Aire and Calder Canal, about 15 miles from Leeds. So far on this journey, I haven't been short of company, but suddenly I seem to be on my own. Well, almost. Morning. At last, signs of life. Hello. Can we see your boat?
Certainly can. Mind your step.
The Norton family welcome me aboard La Belle. It's a bit better than our boat.
We've got autopilot for when we're out at sea. And also...
You could take this out to sea, can you?
Yeah.
You could take it all the way to the continent?
10 years' time, hopefully that's where I'll be, in the south of France.
With this? Okay. With La Belle. That'll be suitable, won't it? Okay, here we go. Well, this is nice, isn't it?
Nice big areas, as we call it, like the living room area.
Yeah. And the children have got the bikes up here, haven't they?
We do actually live on the boat.
Yes.
We live at Viking Marina in Goole.
Oh, so you live on the boat. Is that all the time?
All the time.
When you say you live on a boat, are your friends surprised?
Yeah. Some of them have come to sleep.
Have they? Yes. Well, how do you find living on the boat?
We wouldn't go back to living in a house.
Wouldn't you?
No. We both commute to work and commute the kids to school.
And what jobs do you do?
I'm a teaching assistant at a high school, and John's a mechanic at Jaguar.
Well, actually, I must say, I'm taken by you lot. You're terrific. Really pleased to have met you. Thanks a lot. I'm impressed by their way of life. I can see the appeal, especially on this canal, because it's got the space. You can have a big boat and you can turn it around wherever you like. After all, this canal was designed for big boats. And this is the oldest stretch, built in 1700 to enable large boats to enter the busy wharf in Leeds. then a hub of the industrial north. This is quite unlike any of the other canals we've been on. It's so wide, and it is beautiful. We're in the northeast of England, and you think we're miles away from the continent, but not when you're on this canal. You think it's like all those big boats you see going along the canals of Holland or Belgium or France. Forget the Canal du Midi, this is the Canal du Northeast, and very nice it is too. Très bon. The canal joins other waterways. I'm now on the River Aire. Hello. How are you? Great. How many have you got on board? Lots. Lots, have you? How many families?
We're all family, but the two of us live on board, and then we're all...
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, you've got a great boat. Another family afloat, living on a large boat and enjoying the freedom of this spacious waterway. I've been trying to get to grips with the character of this canal. Now that the industry is gone, this western section feels wild, almost unexplored, as if searching for an identity. I'm stopping off a few miles short of Leeds at Woodlesford. And before I even moor up, I can already see that the canal here has captured the enthusiasm of the local people. In picturesque Woodlesford, the Horticultural Society have won prizes for their efforts.
Cheers. Is it moving?
Hello.
Hello.
You're the gardeners, aren't you?
Yes.
You're the heroes.
I don't know.
There you are, aren't you?
I decided to create a bed especially for you.
Really? There's John Sargent Garden.
Excellent.
It's a lot tidier than I am.
Still some planting to do on it, obviously. You can see the plant pots.
Oh, that there?
That there, just so it's close to you.
It should pop off. Right, there we are.
Right on cue.
Okay. All right. Okay, now everybody watch this, all right? We're talking.
Yeah.
This is why I kneel down and pray. It'll be all right. Okay, here we go. It's a bit low, isn't it?
We'll bring the soil up to it.
Oh, yes, of course we will. I'd forgotten about the soil. Right, here we go. Oh, that's a bit better.
Oh, that's the better.
This what, yeah.
Down the roots.
What do you think?
I think you'll need to. Brilliant.
What?
I think. Yeah.
Really? Oh. No, please. No. It was nothing, honestly. No. You're blooming good. Really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's lovely. Woodlesford Lock attracts all sorts of outdoor activities.
Almost the way half the leaner we are.
Yeah, well, I can't advise on this. But I'm not.
Change legs, ladies.
Come round, have a go. All right. Let me just. I'll be next to you because I think you know what you're doing.
Foot onto the step and then just push up.
Whoops.
Steady as you lunge back down.
Right, down.
Hold onto your trousers.
Hold on my trousers. Well, that's it.
Down
Right.
nice and careful. That's it. Just brace your stomach muscles. Chest nice and tall. That's it.
Right. And do I have to look as if I'm enjoying it? Or can I
Smile all the way. Yes, definitely.
I wanted to sort of say, I'm exhausted already. Okay. Oh, please. We did that with the gardeners just a moment ago. I want to stay here. I want to live here forever. This is terrific. Thanks a lot. Keep at it.
Back up, ladies.
It's good to see how this section of the canal has been brought back to life. And there's another bonus. A canal this big has an extraordinary effect. It's even enabled a local vineyard to flourish here, in Yorkshire. George Bowden makes around 20,000 bottles a year from his 6-acre vineyard. Hello, George.
Oh, John.
Nice to see you.
Nice to John. Welcome to 1112 Vineyard.
And Yorkshire wine.
Yorkshire wine. Believe it or not, wine's been grown in Yorkshire since Roman times.
Now, when you first were looking for sites, how did you manage to choose this?
In the middle of January, brilliant sunshine after heavy snowfall, and I noticed coming up the hill here that the snow on this particular piece of land had almost disappeared. So that told me it's a warm field.
Yes.
And the drainage is fantastic.
And why does the canal help you?
It gives extra warmth along with the river to the area.
Really?
And plus also it'll create, in times of frost, it'll create mists rather than frosts.
So it's just a strange little microclimate.
Little microclimate on this little piece of land.
So you can thank the canal.
I'll write her a letter, I think. So
say thank you, canal.
Thank
You've
you,
done your
canal.
bit. So we could be in France.
Near enough, I think.
Yeah. So maybe we ought to be a bit more French. Yeah, you look a bit French. You do.
It's the big nose, is it?
Yes. Non. Pardon. Bon. Yorkshire. Yeah, I mean, Yorkshire. It's wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
To try a bottle of Leventhorpe Brut.
Oh, that's very kind of you, thank you. Well, I must say that was a canal-side bonus that few people would have guessed. A rival to champagne, grown just 6 miles south of Leeds. The Aire and Calder navigation, one of the best, one of the most impressive canals in Britain. And I can certainly drink to that, with the local vintage, of course. And very nice it is too. Rather like the Aire and Calder Canal. Understated, but full of surprises. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England. I'm going to take part, aren't I? I'll be exploring their stories. Am I helping? Discovering why and how they were built. A spectacular piece of engineering. And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm exploring the Trent and Mersey Canal. It provided a crucial link from the potteries in Staffordshire to Liverpool and the world. I'll be visiting the pottery factory founded by Josiah Wedgwood, the leading light behind the building of this canal, and finishing my journey in Britain's brewing capital, Burton-on-Trent. Along the way, I'll be sampling life both on and around the canal. This canal trip, and it's a good one, starts on a river. This is the River Weaver in Cheshire, and very soon we're going to join the Trent and Mersey Canal. 250 years ago, it enabled the potteries to become a world beater. And the fun starts just here. Look at that. It's the Anderton boat lift. A miracle of engineering built in 1875 to allow boats full of cargo to be lifted up the hill. The lift provides a vital connection between this river from Liverpool and the outside world and the canal, which is 50 feet above. The Anderton lift is the only one of its kind in England. Manoeuvring into it is tricky, so I'm lucky to have an expert and engineer, Peter Marshall, who worked on its recent restoration. It's wonderful to see something like this that's working, bringing it back to life. Quite the sort of thing the lottery should be doing. Now, that's my own personal view. Am I biased? Of course I am, but you think that too, don't you?
Well, I think exactly the same as you.
Yes, quite. This is great. My boat and all the water it's floating on will be raised up onto the canal.
These sprockets and cogs that you see up here were built by Andre Citroën that went on to make Citroën cars.
Now you can see the V-shaped of the cogs. That's a Citroën sign, isn't it? Up we go. It's magic. In 30 minutes, we're at the top. And here we are, on the first leg of our journey, heading south through Cheshire on the Trent and Mersey Canal. We'll be passing through the potteries, and we should end up in Burton-on-Trent. Oh, I like this on Golden Pond. Do you remember the film?
Yeah, on Golden
Jane
Pond.
Fonda and her dad.
That's the one.
I think I've got the mood already. That's it. We're old, but we're enjoying ourselves.
That's it.
Yeah, I think I can identify with that. That looks good. Very efficient. Really good. Yeah. They need a bit of encouragement. We've come to Middlewich in Cheshire, and they've got the bunting out for us. Nice to see they've made the effort. Oh, no, it's actually their summer festival.
They get together, there's music, there's dancing.
That sounds good, though. Sounds like us, yeah?
It sounds good to me.
The witch in Middlewich means salt, which has been mined here since Roman times. And pepper, well, that came later. At the end of the 18th century, thanks to the canal, the salt business boomed. People here should be celebrating salt. It made this town, but they're just having a good time.
We're going into a lock, which is called the Big Lock. And this lock was built to accommodate the salt barges, which were wide beam.
We could be old sea salts, couldn't we, or old salt dogs? Hello! I think I'll run for mayor. I think I could get it. Yeah, the festival is open.
I think you'll get the job, you know. It's a done deal. I'm sold.
I learned this from John Major. People don't have to wave back. He would do the whole thing. Wave anybody. Are you the Rose Princess? You are. Well done. You look great.
Newark, you see, they've come from Newark.
Hello. You're looking good from Newark. That's a long way, isn't it?
Yeah, I come up yesterday.
Did you come up yesterday? Yeah, that's great. Solitude. Are you on your own?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's brave. Yeah, she's on her own. Going along the canal, it takes you right back into Britain's past. Hello. In the 18th and early 19th century, canals like this helped Britain become the most important industrial nation in the world. The canals were a cheap and efficient way to transport everything, from salt to coal to steel. And with a narrow boat, just one horse could pull a cargo weighing 30 tons. And now we're heading south to where the Industrial Revolution bloomed. As we approach Kidsgrove, there's a mysterious change in the water. It changes colour from clear blue to tomato soup. Skipper Dave Till knows exactly why that happens. Why is the water this strange colour?
It's from the mines. When they abandoned the mines, they left all the steelwork in, the railway lines, the old trucks and that, and over the years it slowly rotted away and come through the tunnel into the silt.
So it really is rusty water then?
It's literally rusty water, yeah.
Here at Kidsgrove, the canal builders faced a major obstacle. A steep hill stood in their way. We're heading through the tunnel that engineer Thomas Telford built.
Right, just line her up. Let the tunnel take us in.
Constructed by hand, long before the advantage of satellite navigation, the tunnel runs straight for over 1.5 miles. It took 2 years to build and is lined with over 7 million bricks. Well, it's a bit creepy, really. I'm glad you're with me. You can imagine me scratching my name, you know.
Oh, yeah.
JS was imprisoned here for years and years and nobody knew. It's, oops. In olden days, they wouldn't have any lights, would they?
No, none at all. Just a candle on the horse's head and a little lantern at the front.
It would look like this.
This is it.
It's creepy, isn't it?
It's very creepy.
You need, of course, a lantern.
A lantern?
And also, in these conditions, you need a ghost story.
Oh, yes.
And, of course, there is one. The Kidsgrove Boggart, based on the story of a woman murdered by a boatman in the tunnel who returned to reap her revenge.
Halfway through the tunnel, the headless woman appeared, wielding an axe, and she killed him. What's happening there?
Right. That sounds a bit like a ghost. I'm looking forward to being out of this tunnel. How much longer have we got to go?
We've been halfway.
Halfway? I just think we'll never get out of here. But after 40 long minutes and nearly 3,000 metres, I was through, unscathed. After the Hare Castle Tunnel, we're in Staffordshire, Potteries country, and we're heading for Etruria, home to the most famous pottery of all. Now, you want to turn and two hitches, don't we?
Yeah.
Josiah Wedgwood, who championed the Trent and Mersey Canal, made sure that it ran alongside his new factory at Etruria, where it arrived in 1777. Wedgwood was a visionary industrialist, and the company archives demonstrate his commitment to building the Trent and Mersey Canal. These communications by water also greatly contribute to the benefit of the merchants who reside at the ports where they terminate, by enabling them to export greater quantities of goods from those parts which lie at a distance from the sea. And I'm talking about my business. Wedgwood was right. The building of the canal transformed his business. Today, the Wedgwood factory has moved a few miles away, but his pottery is still known around the world. This is the creamware that Wedgwood had his first big success with. This sort of stuff was made in China for thousands of years, but he began to make it here in Britain. The trouble was he needed to transport it to the ports so he could export it. He once said, "I want to conquer the world, vase after vase." But to do that, he needed canals. The Wedgwood factory stood by the canal right up until the 1930s, transporting their fine pottery all over the world. They were mass-produced here by hand. At the new factory, Wedgwood ceramics are still made in the same way by potters like Chris Mottram, keeping the old skills alive. Okay, that's the throwing.
That's the throwing.
Right.
It's going to turn into a small Portland vase.
All right. How long did it take you to get good at this?
Roughly 2 years.
2 years?
Hard training, yeah.
What, wrecking pot after pot?
Yes, that's it.
It looks a bit bigger than that, doesn't it?
That's your height gauge you've got to go to.
Okay, we still haven't got to that. Am I helping? Well, I think up a bit. A bit more confidence, Chris, I think.
More confidence.
I think maybe another 2 years training, you can get this right. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I think that looks good. Now, if you've made a mistake, can you go back?
No.
No. Well, it looks very good.
Thank you.
Once it's all done, how much can you sell it for?
£500.
£500?
Yes.
Blimey. I think Josiah will be proud to see young Chris carrying on his traditions. Wedgwood needed the canals to move his chinaware around, much better than using the roads, which were at the time, well, hazardous. Blimey. There's another one. Oh, like a bull in a china shop. No wonder Wedgwood wanted a canal. The Trent and Mersey Canal soon became a busy working canal, but now it's mainly devoted to leisure craft. It's reckoned there are more narrow boats here than ever before. It's easy to see the attraction. An ever-changing scene and a comfortable home. Whatever would Wedgwood have thought about his industrial transport system being used for holidays? I'm near Stoke-on-Trent, about halfway along my journey on the Trent and Mersey Canal.
Right, here we go. Good morning. Right, breakfast. Breakfast over. Goodbye.
There's something so relaxing about waking up on a canal boat, and I can't resist the temptation of a full English.
We've had a great trip on the Trent and Mersey Canal. We started on the boat lift at Anderton, then the Middlewich Folk and Boat Festival, that was fun, and then through the tunnel, bit frightening. And we had that, well, I don't know, I thought I did my best at the Wedgwood factory to smash up all the plates they had, but we got over that. And we're now moving on to watercolouring. I've got to be a painter now. That's at Great Hayward, so on we go.
This is Great Hayward in central Staffordshire, one of the most attractive spots on the canal and a big draw for local artists.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, are you coming to join us?
Oh, well, I'm trying to, yes. I'm not very good at painting, though.
How much have you done before?
None at all.
None,
No.
yeah.
So here we go. So it's sort of...
I think maybe we're going to have to try again.
Oh.
Yeah, do
Just,
that.
when people do that, what are they doing when they do that? I've seen people do that.
Oh, okay. What they're doing is they're measuring. So if
Right.
you take a pencil and you measure the height of that boat, you're going to...
I just do like that.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got that.
Scrap that one.
All right.
Have a look at that one. Can you see that one?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
better.
That is a lot better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Couldn't I put a boat in, though?
You could try.
It's not in...
Get the windows in the boat.
Okay, get the windows in the boat.
Mhm.
Right, quickly.
You win the Turner Prize with that.
I'm after that effect, a sort of slightly shock effect. So you think we scrap this one?
Give it out.
How long would it take me to become the worst in this class? You know, to equal the worst?
2 weeks if you paint it at home.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Now, why do most people come? What gets them going?
Have you thought about anything else except painting in the last 15 minutes?
Certainly not.
So that's what it's all about.
I've been doing my best. What are the things that you just got better at?
Mixing colours, what they call wet in wet.
Yes?
We blend the colours together while they're still wet.
Wet on wet, yeah. Okay, maybe that's something I could move on to later. What's good about this scene? What do you like about it?
I like those children coming up on little paddle canoes.
That's all you need, isn't it, in a scene like this? Just to add some children, and we're there, aren't we?
Yeah, it's just beautiful, it's fantastic.
Have you fallen in yet?
No, not yet.
Do you think you will?
Yes, yeah.
Do you think you will fall in?
Yeah.
Will you be calm, or will you think you'll
We'll
panic?
be calm and we'll reach the side safely.
Yes, you'll reach... Yes?
You won't panic because it'll make things worse. You would want to scream because you feel like you're going to drown, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't let it out. Nice jackets on us. We get thrown in at the end and then we go in. We don't get thrown in. Well, we get
You don't get thrown in, no, you not.
we get out. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm very pleased to have met you.
Yeah.
And I think you're the bravest crew that I've come across.
thank
Because you're ready for anything.
Thank you very much.
And that's good, that's what you should be.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I'm ready for anything, but maybe not watercolours. To be honest, I could do with a drink. The next bit of the journey, which I'm really looking forward to, is the run-up to the breweries of Burton-on-Trent. An expert helmsman, Leicester State, has come aboard to help me through some of the tighter locks.
Now, how bad is it if we bang the side?
No, it's nothing. With this speed, it's not a major problem.
Right, now then, I should bung into reverse a bit here. Thank you very much, thank you.
That's right, that's going to close now.
Now, we're the full length of this, aren't we, pretty well? Right, what have we hit? OK. That's good. Look.
As far as I'm concerned, I've been to Venice. I like Venice, but hey, I like this. Venice has got great architecture.
It's got a few things in its favour.
Yes, of course it has, but...
hasn't got fields, though.
No, it hasn't.
Hasn't got moorhens, has it?
It hasn't, no Canada geese.
As we approach Burton, you get a whiff of what the town is famous for. You can smell the hops from far away, and soon the canal snakes through the brewery buildings.
What's that? That's
part of the brewery. It covers quite a wide area.
It connects them to the canal, doesn't it? I mean, that's why they're here. It's one of the reasons.
Oh, yes.
And actually, a rather good way of moving beer, isn't it? So we're on the canal. We could do with some beer. But you've got to be careful. Driving a canal boat under the influence? Is that an offence?
Yes, well...
Can we do that? It's been wonderful.
You're welcome.
No, it really has. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself.
OK.
For over 100 years, the canal would help transform Burton's long-established brewing industry. Then, rail and road transport took over. Marstons have been making their beer in the same way for centuries. For some people, it's more than a business, it's a religion, as one of the staff, Meryl Jackson, knows only too well.
And to some people, it's the cathedral of brewing.
The cathedral of brewing?
Yes, very much so.
To make beer, you need 4 ingredients: water, barley, hops, and most importantly, yeast. It's the yeast that produces fermentation, and so the alcohol.
These are the troughs with all the yeast, and that's what makes the beer alcoholic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And this yeast keeps growing, and we're using the same strain of yeast for over 100 years.
Because it doesn't die?
No, it doesn't die.
It goes on living?
Yes, it does.
And so that means that theoretically, well, the beer will taste the same?
Yes, it will.
Master brewer Adrian Oliver and his team make sure there's still plenty of variation in their beers.
Hello, Adrian. You're the head brewer, aren't you?
Correct, yes.
And you're going to give me a few tastings?
Yes. That's brewed with lightly kilned malt.
Excellent.
Golden ale.
Okay.
Classic bitter.
That's okay.
An English stout.
Yeah. Which is the most alcoholic?
It's the classic bitter.
I'll have a few more of those.
And after a few drinks and some Dutch courage, I submit myself to a rigorous test.
OK, now we get the blind tasting. Give me the first one, Adrian. Right, here we go. Right, and that is the stout. This is the one with the apricot peaches and goodness knows what. That's called the golden ale. Now that is the pale ale. Well, I know the last one, because it's classic bitter.
You're an excellent student, 4 out of 4.
What have I won? That's good, isn't it?
And it is good, because canals can take you to places and give you experiences that you've never had before. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't I?
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm exploring the Kennet and Avon Canal. It was built to connect the River Avon from Bristol to the River Kennet outside London. And it was designed to carry coal, grain, and most importantly, Bath stone. I'll be carrying a piece of Bath stone along the canal from the mine where it's found up and over the Wessex Downs before delivering it to London. Along the way, I'll be looking at the landscape, towns and industries that have sprung up along the canal and meeting some of the people who live, work and play along its path.
What helped make Bath one of the most beautiful places in Britain was the honey-coloured stone. 200 years ago, it was the bee's knees. Everyone wanted Bath stone. But this river needed to be linked to a canal to transport the stone onto the River Thames to London and beyond. They needed the lovely and amazing Kennet and Avon Canal.
The need for the Kennet and Avon was first recognised in Elizabethan times to allow goods to avoid the hazardous sea journey out of Bristol and up the English Channel. The first survey was completed in 1626, but true to form, it was another 200 years before it was built. By the 1830s, mines had sprung up along its length, producing the coal and stone that could now be transported along it. My first stop is at Stoke Hill Mine, just outside Bath, where they still dig out the distinctive stone. Elaine Marson is very firmly in charge.
Hat first?
Yeah.
Vest.
High-vis.
High-vis vest.
Are these special boots?
They are. They're steel toe cap boots. Can I help?
Yes, thank you. It's what we need, you know. Just someone good like you to sort these things out, like me.
Are you pushed in?
Yeah, no, I'm pushed in. That's fine.
Ear protection for later.
Right, ear protection for later.
I keep that in my my pocket.
Right. And this is emergency breathing.
That's your emergency breathing. You're all set.
Okay, that's all right. Good. Into the depths.
150 million years ago, the area around Bath was at the bottom of a shallow sea. Limestone formed on the seabed. Elaine is still digging it out today.
All right. Are we at the bottom yet?
Yes.
How deep are we here?
30 metres.
So this is where the stone's been cut out. And how long have people been quarrying Bath stone here?
This particular mine has been here since Roman times.
But they would have worked it up at the top.
Oh, yes. It wouldn't have come 100 feet below ground as we are now.
But they had to make the great Roman city of Bath.
Yes.
How much stone is there? Does it go on and on and on?
We know that we have reserves that will last at our current extraction and production rate for another 100 years.
And it was you and your husband who originally got this going again.
Well, my husband, yes.
But you're now the boss.
Yes. It still makes me feel terribly proud.
Yes. I need some sort of souvenir, don't I? I need a bit of Bath stone.
Well, what about some here? We've got 2 pieces.
Right. That would be good, wouldn't it?
That would be smashing.
Right.
With the opening of the canal in the 1820s, the cost of carrying Bath stone like mine to London was more than halved. Almost 200 years later, the canal is still flourishing. But now it's largely used for holidays, and it still looks fantastic, thanks to the effort of devoted volunteers who've dredged, repaired and trimmed it into perfect condition. At my next stop, just near Avon, I join a few of the stalwarts.
How are you?
Joe Russell and Liz Ferns are veterans.
Is your lovely boat?
Yes, it is.
Hi, nice to see you. Do you work harder at this than in your own garden?
I mean, it's a different kind of vegetation. I mean, gardens are a totally different thing from canal banks, aren't they?
Well, you haven't seen my garden. Chop it quickly. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, so you've got to get the right angle, right? Yeah. We're not meant to be filling up the canal with rubbish, are we? No, no. That's it, right?
You're getting the knack now, aren't you?
I'm getting the knack, but I'm realising people just think, oh, well, let someone else do that.
I'm letting you do it, aren't I?
Whether I'll be volunteering straight away, well, we'll have to think about that.
Without the hard work of volunteers like Joe and Liz, our canals would soon become unusable.
What is amazing is after 200 years, it's still working, isn't it?
It's amazing, really, the restoration that's happened.
What is it, though, about doing something like this that people have been doing for 200 years or more?
Just that wow feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
That they've done this years and years ago, and it's brilliant.
It matters to us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In a strange way, this, somehow...
Our heritage, or
it's
whatever,
just...
yeah.
And we'd be bereft without it, isn't it strange?
Yeah.
Leaving the volunteers at Avon, our next stop will be Devizes, the largest market town in the area. My destination lies at the top of the Canehill Locks, one of the most impressive engineering features of any canal. 29 locks rise 237 feet in 2 miles, each with a reservoir to keep the system topped up. And when you're at the bottom of 29 locks, the more hands the better. Luckily, David Dare runs a tight ship.
Open it a little bit again. Give it a pull. Go, 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 go. Yay! Fantastic.
You're very much the captain, though, aren't you? Let's do this and do that and...
Yes, yes. And sometimes the children don't appreciate being
ordered about.
He annoys me a lot.
Does he?
Yeah.
And what would you like to do when that happens?
Push him in the canal.
Push him in the canal, right? And have you ever done that?
I tried to.
Go, 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 go.
Who's really in charge, do you think? Is it him or is it you?
Probably the children.
It's thirsty work negotiating 29 locks. Fortunately, all along the canal, waterside pubs are frequent and welcome stopping-off points for a pint of beer. In the town of Devizes, beer making has a long history, and it's kept alive by Wadworth's Brewery. At the time of the Industrial Revolution, many people couldn't read, and pub signs helped them spot their local. Even if you couldn't spell the King's Arms, you could probably recognise its symbol. And they're still making the signs at the brewery.
And how old will this one be?
That's about 60 years.
Easily. 60 years
60,
old?
Yeah.
Most of the beer is still delivered in the wooden casks that they use time and again. Wadworth's cooper, John Noyes, has to inspect each cask.
Clean as a whistle, there. I thought I had a bit too much, it was rocking, but it is rocking, isn't it? Right, this is your workshop.
That's correct, yeah. These are the tools.
Yeah?
Right.
In his workshop, John has a fearsome array of tools.
Ginseng hammer, that's something else. A buzz.
A what?
Buzz, an inside shave, a round shave, a hollowing knife, jigger. Cooper's axe, go careful with that. These are dividers for the head.
Their purpose is to allow him to make new barrels and refurbish old ones.
So what does it do?
Oh, that's for knocking the head back in. You put the cast.
To my surprise, John asked me to put one back together.
Oh, right. So we put these where the rivets are. Oh. And you've just got to... I can see it beginning to... Oh. Now, the great Cooper is never flustered. That is not perfect, but I mean, you're beginning to see how, the barrel can come together.
Oh, very good.
You think so?
Yes. I don't think it'll hold any liquid.
I found that bit a bit difficult. Do you want another of these clips?
No, not for a minute.
No. Am I being much help?
No, you're not really, to be honest.
Oh.
Thank you.
Right. You could have been a surgeon, couldn't you?
There you are.
Right, well, it's done. That's terrific. Yeah, well done. Thanks very much. Thank you.
This skilled craftwork is all very well, but after just one day, I'm quite exhausted. Early morning in Devizes, and I'm roughly halfway along my journey on the beautiful Kennet and Avon Canal. Just like the Victorian builders, I'm taking some Bath stone from the mines of the West Country to the heart of London.
I'm about to start on the next leg of my journey, and I'm going to be with an expert narrow boatman, and he's called Badger.
Hello, John.
Right. Well, welcome aboard. How long have you lived on one?
16 years now.
16 years
Yes.
you've been living on a boat?
Yes.
Right.
There we go.
Right, here we go. Do you ever get tired of it ever? No?
No, I love it. Even the winter's lovely. You know.
But if you were given a choice of a nicely appointed house, gardens,
No.
space...
Can't move my neighbours though, can I?
That's it, you think? You just say, right, I'm going now.
Yeah,
And when the tourists have gone, do you then feel, right, we're now down to the hardcore, we're down to permanent ones?
Yes.
And that makes you feel a bit superior?
No. Not at all.
Just
Not
a
at all.
tiny bit. You are the real canal folk.
Yeah, there is that a bit. Yeah,
There is,
a bit
come
of that.
on.
There is a little bit of that.
Canals need characters, though, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, it's a basic need, and you're a character, and it all makes sense, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
It makes more sense on a canal than it would do in a car factory or something. We've seen a lot. Beautiful Bath. I wish we could have stayed there longer. But I did get my Bath stone. Then Bradford-on-Avon. And we cleared a whole section of undergrowth from the side of the canal. Then that extraordinary flight of locks. And those brilliant children, weren't they terrific? Devizes, delivering barrels of beer, good. Me making a barrel, not so good. And now here we are, going on the loveliest part of the canal into the Vale of Pewsey.
The Vale of Pewsey may be beautiful, but my next stop proved to be a canal engineer's nightmare. The village of Crofton is on top of a hill and has no natural water supply. A tunnel through the hill would be too expensive. But if the canal were to go over the hill, how could the water be prevented from draining away? This was the problem facing one of the greatest canal engineers of the day. His name was John Rennie, and he put his faith in machines.
Work between Crofton and the summit level is much wanted, and the early prospect of a steam engine will enable that key necessary work.
With a steam engine driving a huge pump at the top, he could use locks to lift the canal up to the summit, and then pump them full of water again at the top. Within months, he'd installed one of the largest pumps on any canal in the country.
The steam engine at Calder has been at work for about a month past, and it performs that work very perfectly.
Amazingly, in a building just above the canal locks, the pump still works.
Driver number one here. Prepare to start engine number one. Prepare to start engine number one.
Being an orchestra, you're the conductor, but also you're on percussion. You are part of it, aren't you?
You have to be part of it, yeah.
So this is the beam of the beam engine.
This is the beam. This is the Bolton Watt, made in the Soho Works in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And weighing about 6 tons.
Gosh. And this is, in the canal system, this is the biggest beam engine there is.
Yes. Yes, yeah. There's nothing else like this.
It's a British obsession with steam, isn't it? Can't let it go. You've got to have steam.
But as we all know, there's no steam without fire. 1 1/4 tons of coal a day keeps the engine turning.
Here we go.
Right. Not too ambitious.
Yeah, brilliant.
Do you think so, really?
Yeah.
Every time that beam comes down...
Yep, we get a ton of water.
What?
About 10 strokes a minute. So it's a lot of water. And it flows then along here, along this launder and culvert.
Gosh.
Quick, a rescue!
It's got an, it's got
John's hat. John's hat.
This is
Quick,
really important.
You're going to miss it. Yeah. Because you can't walk on that plane. You're going to miss it.
Got it? Oh, well done, hooray. Thank you very much. Excellent.
But even this huge pump wasn't enough to keep the canal topped up on its own. It was always in danger of running dry. Unthinkable for such a vital trade route. Local streams and rivers were the obvious source of water, and many of them dried out. I'm stopping just a mile from the canal to see how things changed. The windmill is now under the care of trustee and miller Mike Clark.
It's a wonderful mill you've got here, isn't it?
It certainly is.
When was it built?
It was built in 1821, so it's nearly 200 years old.
So tell us about what it was like, what was happening when the windmill was built.
The canal was put through and took the water from the local streams to keep the canal topped up, and it dried up about 5 of the local water mills.
So the little mills, which worked so nicely for so long, they'd had it.
They were finished off by the canal, and this mill was built to replace them.
So that was a big change.
It was a big change.
So do we say canal's good or canal's bad?
It's good for transport.
Yes.
But it upset a lot of millers that had their little water mills here.
So there was a price to pay, but the canal revolutionised transport across southern England. During the Industrial Revolution, steam engines and their coal were cumbersome and uneconomic. And until diesels arrived in the 20th century, the horse was the engine of choice. Steve Butler and Freddie can still do the job.
And how much would he be able to pull?
They would have been carrying cargoes of 40 or 50 tons, excess of, you know, so he's just going to stop for a bite to eat. Come on, Fred.
Is that allowed?
Oh, yeah, of course it is, yeah, that's fine.
Right, well, we've got
he's good.
In days long gone, they would have had to have hurried, wouldn't they? I mean,
oh, yeah, I mean,
work,
time is money.
But time is money is an idea that Freddie struggles with. He's a lovely horse, but you can see how Diesel's caught on.
Shouldn't I be helping with this?
No, that's all right, John. I'll do that one.
Oh, right.
Go on, mate.
A certain necessary function.
Absolutely. He's always got to do his business.
Yeah, right. Off we go now.
Come on. Oh, Fred. Let's get it all out of the way in one go. That's
all right. Here we go again.
Yeah.
He should have got up earlier this morning, I think.
Come on, mister. Come on a bit. That's
right,
it.
come on.
Walk on, Fred.
Go on. Walk on. No. Come on, we go. Come on, walk on, Freddie. Walk on, Freddie. Don't get distracted. Oops. Come on. Way. There's Kennet and Avon Canal. A lot of it was to get the Bath Stone up, wasn't it?
Down onto the Thames from Reading, though?
Yes. Yeah.
It must have been incredibly hard.
Where's the men? The most amazing thing, I suppose, is that horses like Freddie would just be used carrying Bath Stone all the way along the canal and then into the River Thames and into London. And otherwise, there wouldn't be a Bath Stone industry 200 years ago. And I'm going to be taking my Bath Stone to London. You see, not just you, Freddie. There are other people who can do this, you know. And that's what I'm doing. Whoops. And I don't get mints afterwards.
On the Kennet and Avon, it took 3.5 days to get Bathstone, like mine, from Bath to Newbury, where the canal joins the River Kennet, then onto the Thames and into London, where I have one final task to complete.
I've come to Lancaster House in London, one of the finest examples of the way that a building with Bathstone on the outside can look magnificent. And I brought my own Bathstone with me.
I'm delivering my stone to a government official, Paul Lecornu.
Hello. I think you were expecting this?
Yes, we were.
I hope you like it.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm sure they'll make a bit of a fuss of it. Mount it on a wall or put it in a cabinet. Something for the Queen to look at. Oh, well, it's a very impressive door, and it needs a proper doorstop. Looks even better now. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm exploring the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. It runs 127 miles, high over the Pennines, and was to give the textile industry of Leeds a direct route to the docks of Liverpool. I'll go through Sir Titus Salt's company town, come face to face with an alpaca, work the locks, and look at the landscape, towns and industries that have sprung up along the canal. I'll be meeting some of the people who live, work and play along its path. I'm starting in Leeds, where, in recent years, the waterfront has been transformed. This used to be a dingy backwater. Now it's an area Leeds is proud of.
This canal took 40 years to build. It could have been completed much sooner. Money troubles got in the way, and we had to see off Napoleon at Waterloo. But these things happen, and in 1816, this great route across the Pennines was up and running.
With the arrival of the canal, Leeds became one of the most important commercial centres in the country. Its success was largely based on the textile trade, and in the city centre, department stores opened to meet the demand for luxury goods. Just a short walk from the canal stands Leeds' impressive County Shopping Arcade, built in 1898. This was the place to get a suit, perfectly tailored, of course.
Well, very nice to meet you, James.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
And this is your emporium.
Indeed.
For your business, you want a bit of style, don't you?
I do.
When the canal was built, this was a modest woolen town, and it then became glorious because of textiles, didn't it? How did that work?
Bradford wove the cloth, but Leeds was very much where the garments were made. Yeah. So, you know, there's names which you will have heard of, like Burton's.
Yeah.
When it was the D-Mob years, when the soldiers came back, they called getting their suits the full Monty, and that was the three-piece.
Oh, yes, the full Monty.
That's where it came from.
So you're going to show me your shop?
I would love to.
Okay,
absolutely.
Right. Thanks very much.
Just step inside James Micklebird's shop, and you can walk back in time. In the Victorian age, a chap's tailor was likely to know more about him than his wife.
Well, I would look at you and I would say you're around about a 42 chest.
42 chest,
But
right?
something like a 42 chest.
Quite good, isn't it?
And then I'd look at your jacket waist, and I think that might be around 42 as well.
42 for the waist? I'm solid, I am solid.
You are solid. You are a 47 chest.
No.
Hand on my heart, 47. 47.
Right.
And so your waist, it's obviously highly confidential, the measurements.
You can whisper it to
I
me.
think comfortably that's probably 40.
Look, I'm a Marks and Spencer 38. Anyway, I'm meant to be 38.
James, I'm afraid, got the measure of me. But I decided it didn't quite suit. Me, I mean. But whatever sort of garment you needed, Leeds catered for all. And textiles allowed the city to flourish. At the end of the 18th century, the number of mills increased sevenfold, and within 50 years, the population had trebled. Today, fashionable flats have taken over the old warehouses. The canal brought new thinking, encouraging trade in both directions. Yorkshire's industrialists could see immediately the advantages of bringing raw materials in and sending their textiles out. They developed an industrial corridor running across the Pennines, siting their giant factories beside the canal. A Bradford wool magnate built one of the biggest, 25 miles outside Leeds. It was Saltaire, where 3,000 people worked for Sir Titus Salt. He remains a controversial figure. At a work's fate, he looked down on his employees patronisingly.
I like to see you about me, to look upon your pleasant and cheerful faces. I hope you all enjoy yourselves and go home safely without accident after your day's pleasure. I wish happiness, health and prosperity to you all.
But Sir Titus didn't just build a factory, he built a town by the canal to house his workers. But nowadays, should we look up to him, or was he plain old-fashioned? 96-year-old Frank Sr. grew up in one of the houses.
How very nice to see you.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
He started work in the mill when he was 14.
When Saltaire started and it was built up, everything was provided. So you had houses here, you had your work here. This was the company town, wasn't it? Good or bad?
I still subscribe to the fact that he did a world of good, but there are others who point out that he had a captive workforce.
Yes.
And that seemed to rile a lot of people.
You either worked to the mill or you'd had it. How much was it important that the canal should go right the way through the mill, as we can see here?
Very important. How else could you transport bales of wool from Liverpool to the West Riding of Yorkshire? It was a lifeline.
Yes.
I used to watch barges arrive with several tons of coal. To watch two men unload that in one working day, it was hard work.
What sort of people were they?
Just navvies. In the main, they were no different to any ordinary man in the street.
So some of them were skinny, some of them were...
That's right.
Say what you like about those Victorian entrepreneurs, they certainly knew how to grasp an opportunity. The wool that came up the canal to Saltaire was not from Yorkshire. It was from South America. Saltaire was known for manufacturing clothes from alpaca wool. James Roberts is an alpaca farmer. His ancestors took over Saltaire not long after Sir Titus died. Now he returns to the bandstand, built by Sir Titus, to show us just how much wool you can get from these strange-looking animals.
Hello, James.
Hello.
Well, you brought your lovely alpacas, aren't they?
They're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, they look just terrific, don't they?
The whole wealth of Saltaire was based on alpaca wool.
They were living in South America.
That's right, they were sheared over there and they actually just imported the wool. Obviously it's great that nowadays we have them living here in the country.
And how friendly are they?
I wouldn't say that they're real sort of people animals. They're a little bit skittish and a bit shy, but they don't mind being stroked.
All right, OK, well, there we are. Whoops.
Deciding to use alpaca wool was Salt's great breakthrough. At the time, this wool was mainly used as packing material in ships. He spotted that it could be made into quality clothing.
Is that saying thank you or what? There's a lot here, isn't there?
There's a lot.
If I was getting a really stylish jacket, though, made of fur, how much could it cost, well, from this amount of material?
Anywhere from £300 to £1,000. The sky's your limit.
There we go. Oh, that's lovely.
Looks a bit like Bambi now, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that's lovely. You look really good, and I forgive you for that spitting earlier, you know, honestly. Anyone might want to spit at me, I quite understand that.
Alpacas may not be man's best friend, but their wool made very good garments, which would be put onto the canal boats to head off to Liverpool. It may look peaceful now, but back then this would have been a busy highway for boats making their way to the Liverpool docks. But the Foul Ridge Tunnel presented a problem. It was dug through such difficult rock that it would have been too expensive to construct a towpath for a horse. So once inside the tunnel, men had to lie on their backs and use their legs against the walls to leg the boat through. And once you were through the tunnel, you weren't even halfway to Liverpool. It was a tough life. Days were long and the work arduous. Luckily for me, it's now a quiet spot to settle down for the night. I'm near Foul Ridge in Lancashire, up in the Pennines, and I'm nearly halfway through the 127-mile journey from Leeds to Liverpool along the canal. You have to be sociable on a canal. It's time to make myself respectable and head out to meet the neighbours. Morning. Morning. Morning.
Right, so what sort of trip have you had?
Oh, we've had a bit of a nightmare, actually. Picked a tyre up onto me prop.
A tyre?
A tyre, yeah.
You got a little bit downhearted, didn't you? A little bit.
At one point, I never thought I'd get it off.
David and Denise Schofield get underway, and I arrange to join up with them later to tackle the Barrowford locks. There are 44 locks carrying the canal high over the Pennines and linking the West Riding of Yorkshire to the Mersey docks and from there out to the world. These locks at Barrowford are about 500 feet up, the highest point. We soon catch up with David and Denise, and it's time for a little light rivalry.
Are you all right? Okay. Quite a snug fit, isn't it? It's a bit of a competition, isn't it, Denise? You and me. Right, here we go. I'm ahead now. Okay, I think I'm winning.
Crossing the Pennines proved difficult, and the canal took more than 40 years to build. But you can see why. It's Britain's longest single canal and requires dozens of locks, 8 aqueducts, a long embankment, and over 1¼ miles of tunnel.
You're ahead of me again. I was just a tiny bit behind. I'm going to win this time.
No.
Right, how many more?
This is it. The last one. Yeah.
7 of these locks. What a business, isn't it? Look on.
But the canal over the Pennines was a great success. And with the coal, textile and cotton industries along its banks, it was one of the few canals that could compete with the railways. Cargo boats were still working here well into the 20th century. And there are still a few left today.
This is a big one, isn't it? What are they doing? That's more what they would have looked like in the old days. That would have been a proper working barge coming down here, carrying coal, salt, grain, and those are the boats that would fly through the canals. They'd be worked 24 hours a day just so they could get quickly with their cargo where they had to be.
They were called flyboats.
Morning. Have you caught anything? A few roach. Only small ones?
Yeah, small ones.
Well, you've got quite a bit of the day left. We started in Leeds, we went through Saltaire, Keighley, all industrial areas, and we're now coming into Burnley. But what's great about this canal is the way it's changing. It's not a question of the old industries, people putting up with the grim necessity of the canal. No, it's now part of the leisure industry. People are not looking away from the canal, putting up with it. They're looking towards the canal and enjoying it. It's terrific. That's a nice veranda you've got.
Canals changed the map of Britain. They were the motorways of the age. Now it was easy to transport goods in bulk across the country. For the first time, towns like Burnley could become home to new industries. 16 miles later, I'm stopping at Blackburn at a canal-side factory where Ian Brown is acutely aware of the canal's importance.
Right, so you've been on this site for ages, haven't you?
Yeah, we're on both sides of the canal here. 1946, my grandfather, Harold and Henry, started the business.
What's nice is that you're making something of the canal.
Absolutely. I mean, the canal, it's more than just a stretch of waterway. This symbolises here in Blackburn the Industrial Revolution. This is what put the great into Great Britain. We brought in raw materials, we made raw products, and we sold that to the rest of the world.
Not everyone was made rich as a result, but there was more money to go round, and people started to spend on all sorts of things for the home, including wallpaper. Everybody could now brighten up their parlours.
Okay, well, it looks okay to me.
Looks all right to me too.
Because these big things, I mean, this would have been just the kind of, you need a canal to go on, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These are bulky items, both shipping in and shipping out, so traditionally they would have been moved on the canal.
Right. But it stems from that amazing period after the Industrial Revolution, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Yeah.
And the Industrial Revolution could only happen because of the canal. That's its greatest legacy.
Yeah, and you're right alongside
Absolutely.
the canal. That's what's so nice.
You could carry 30 tons of wallpaper on just one canal barge. All along this stretch there were coal mines, cotton mills, foundries and ironworks. It's the last leg of my journey which started in Leeds, a 40-mile run until I finally arrived in the docks of what became one of the greatest ports in the world. At Liverpool, huge ships waited, ready to carry Yorkshire's manufactured goods around the world. Danny O'Dear has been a skipper on the Liverpool docks for 25 years.
Danny.
Hi, John.
And what's this great building?
This is the tobacco warehouse. This is the largest brick warehouse in the world.
So it's now derelict, but what are they going to turn it into?
They're trying to develop it so it looks something like this. Apartments. The waterfront now in Liverpool is just out of this world. It's fabulous. The city's changed now.
I had my first job in Liverpool as a cub reporter on the Daily Post and Echo, and the waterfront didn't look like this.
So we're going into Albert Dock now.
Albert Dock.
Yeah, and I remember when it was gloomy and horrible.
For me, coming back here after 50 years the smartening up of Liverpool's waterfront is quite remarkable.
We take a lot of school children on board the boat now, primary school, and this is part of their curriculum about, you know, with the geography and the history and the waterways, the canals.
It's amazing to think what this would have been like, say, 100 years ago.
Oh, you can only imagine, with the tall ships, all the cutters all tied up alongside, unloading the cotton and all the stuff that came in from America.
The city was helped in no small measure by the Leeds and Liverpool Canal.
For more than 200 years, Liverpool was one of the greatest seaports in the world. And this is our canal, the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, coming down here into the city. Can you imagine all the goods coming from across the world into the port, and the exports, the cargoes, coming down the canal, and they can go anywhere? This book lists all the imports for 1 year, 1847, and much of it goes to the mills we've seen. There's lots of cotton and wool, and here, alpaca wool. We know where that's going to be spun, at Saltaire. 44,800 pounds. That's 20 tons in just one day, January the 28th, 1847. That's really good. OK, right, off we go.
There isn't much trade carried on the canal today, but the restored waterfront itself makes for a good day out on a boat. Good enough for the annual outing of the local Women's Institute.
Right, hello.
Hello there.
Right, so what's the main thing I've got to know?
We're all fabulous. We all come from the WA.
Yes.
A mixture of ages.
Right.
We're not the stereotypical WA women.
Does that mean I have to make jam?
No.
Keep your hat on, John.
Does that fill you with pride, that view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a part of history, you know. We've had all wonderful ships and cruise liners that have sailed from here, been all around the world.
All our history really stemmed from the sea. We were always taken to the river, taken on trips across the river as part of our heritage, our youth.
I think it was just a natural progression that they had to find another use for the canal.
Yeah.
Because each age it's changed, hasn't it? What they've used it for. It was all about trade and transportation. Whereas now it's about enjoyment.
In the 1960s, the cargo trade ceased on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. I started work here as a reporter, and a local band were making their name in the world.
Now, 50 years on, and Liverpool is rocking again, and the canal which helped transform the city's fortunes is flourishing once more. It's been a great experience, and for me, you could say, it's taken me right back to where I started. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't I?
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm going to be making my way across Scotland, along the most dramatic and scenic canal in Britain. the Caledonian Canal. It's not like any of our other canals. It joins together three natural lochs, vast expanses of water, as it makes its way right across the Highlands. I'm going to bring to life some of this canal's extraordinary stories and get to grips with the engineering features that made it possible. I'll be finding out about threats to this natural environment and meeting some of those determined to preserve it as I cruise along the Great Glen. The Caledonian Canal was planned 200 years ago during the Napoleonic Wars to provide a shortcut for Royal Navy ships across Scotland. So everything is bigger than usual, including my boat.
Right, hello,
welcoming me aboard is Skipper Malcolm Stewart.
So we're all going to have a great trip, aren't we?
Giving us a hand is first mate and chef Gordon Mallock.
Nice, Malcolm, you're fine. Lovely.
We're at the start of a great adventure, right along the Caledonian Canal, which goes like a knife right through the top northeast part of Scotland, and it's really a ship canal. We're on a ship. The thing about this is it's so much bigger than what we're used to.
From the moment you enter the Muirtown locks, you get the feeling that this canal means business. It's ambitious and could even be dangerous.
Now you fall in there and they get out your letter to your mum, don't they?
That's it.
How are we doing?
Hi, John.
Is it all right?
Yeah, good.
Is this sort of a normal-sized boat for this canal?
The canal was initially designed as an industrial channel for vessels of this size.
The building of the Caledonian Canal began in 1803, and it took nearly 20 years to build. It was such an important transport route that it was government-funded, one of the very first. William Jessup was one of the chief engineers. The canal builders used three natural lochs, Ness, Aire and Lochie, and joined them together. The waterway is 60 miles in length, a third of that is canal. William Jessup was thrilled by the prospect.
The Caledonian Canal is now fairly begun, and a great number of men employed on the work. The hills rise to stupendous height. The chasm of the Ness and the Lochie is without exception the most remarkable in the kingdom. I estimate it will cost £22,000 a mile.
These engineers were highly inventive. When they encountered difficulties, the solution to a problem could come from an unexpected source.
You can see the river running alongside the canal, and that river, in olden times, used to run a mill. And the mill has a curious connection with the building of this canal. And we're going to find out what that connection was.
When the canal sprang a leak, home mills on the outskirts of Inverness were asked by the engineers to supply vast amounts of tweed cloth to patch up the problem. Ruth Black is a traditional weaver.
Hello, Ruth.
Hello.
Now, you're going to help us explain how this cloth was made to put on the bottom of the canal.
Yes. It's quite straightforward. All these threads have to go onto the loom without being tangled up.
Quite, but this is for the bottom of the canal. I think this is a bit too nice, isn't it?
They wouldn't have bothered about patterns and colours and things like that. They'd have probably used whatever yarn they happen to have.
But you've still got to weave it in just the same way, haven't you?
Still got to weave it in just the same way.
That's what we've got to look at.
Tweed began as an everyday cloth before the aristocracy adopted it, and its appeal spread throughout the empire.
This is our Hattersley loom.
Yeah?
This is only 100 years old, but it's not so very different from what they'd have had before. It's just faster.
OK, now, the next bit we're going to try is to see whether I can
see if
pedal.
you can,
right?
if you can pedal. You're using the
how
foot.
quickly am I doing it?
You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, well, you instruct me as if you were the conductor of an orchestra.
Right.
Are you ready?
OK.
All right, well, I'm ready to go.
So you have to keep going.
I will. You just tell me to keep going.
Just keep going. It'll probably jam, but...
Will it?
Give it a go.
All right, off we go. Right, you ready? OK.
OK.
Give me the instruction.
OK. Left.
The closely woven fabric laid out on the mud at the bottom of the canal provided a perfect seal. The canal stopped leaking.
Oh, stop. Well, that was terrific. And we've actually got some material, haven't we?
We've got a small piece of material, yes.
Oh, so I'm a weaver now, is that right?
I think you've got a way to go yet, but you made a start.
I think it's jolly good. I've enjoyed that enormously. Thanks very much, Ruth. Thank you.
You're welcome.
After the mill, we carry on along the watertight, tweed-lined canal, heading for Loch Ness.
Now, the next thing you're going to tell me is that there's a Viking ship behind me. There is. It's incredible. There we are, a replica Viking ship. Takes all sorts, doesn't it, to enjoy a canal holiday, including Vikings.
That's an amazing vessel. That's absolutely fantastic to see, really.
You can also see here, can't you, why people were frightened of the Vikings. When they sail up, coming at you, and there'd be lots of them, you'd get a little bit nervous, and then you'd get a bit frightened, and then you'd run.
Then you'd run away.
This is the last loch we have to go through before we get on to Loch Ness. So this is the loch, if you think of it, which keeps the monster in, if you believe in monsters, which I, of course, do.
That's the whole of Loch Ness.
So this is it. Somewhere here, we've got the monster.
Somewhere, if it's here, it's swimming.
It's very deep, that's the point, isn't it?
950 feet is the maximum depth.
Is that just right down the centre?
The whole apex as it goes down.
Okay, so if we're looking for the monster...
That's where we're looking.
We should look over there, right? Okay. Right, now look, is that...
here we go.
Is that the monster? I'm determined to find it this time. I'm a real believer.
We reached the end of Loch Ness and more at Fort Augustus. Sadly, I didn't see any monster, and in this strange light, I might miss my bedtime too.
It's still light. We're so far north that it doesn't get really dark, even when it's just before 11 o'clock. I can't wait for this. I'm going to bed. Good night.
With a hard day of pillaging ahead, the Vikings have to set off early. For many years, herring provided the lifeblood for this canal. Early in the year, great shoals of the fish would appear in the west, and they would then move round the north to the east. The fishermen wouldn't have to follow them. With hundreds of their boats, they could go through the Caledonian Canal to catch what they called the silver darlings. They were smoked and then turned into golden kippers. Tasty. Oh, No. Delicious. We are now leaving Loch Ness and heading for the highest loch, Loch Oich.
There you are, you're promoted.
Right, at last.
The engineers had to build yet another series of locks to get there.
What's exciting about a canal journey is you get these doors which are about to open and take you into somewhere completely different. Another world.
We're on the highest point of the canal as we speak. This is Loch Oich, this feeds the canal.
This bit is all natural, isn't it?
Yes.
Here on Loch Oich we come across a poignant reminder of the once great herring industry.
That was one of the last herring drifters to operate in Scotland.
So what we're looking at is the end of that whole era.
A complete era of herring fishing ended up over there.
Of herring fishing, this is it.
At its height, the fleet could land over 500,000 barrels of herring in a single year.
It's all gone now. Most of the boats are sadly broken up.
100 years ago, it looked as if Scotland's foresters might suffer a similar fate. There was only a quarter as many trees as there are now, and there was little replanting. The Prime Minister, Lloyd George, pointed out that Britain had nearly lost the First War for want of timber. So, in 1919, the Forestry Commission was set up to ensure a timber supply. Now the forests face a new menace, the rhododendron. And I'm going to see how you tackle it. Hello, Marcus.
Hello, John.
Right, so what are you doing here?
We take the rhododendron and we destroy them by burning them on the fire.
Yeah, and what's wrong with them?
They are an invasive species and they don't belong here.
Don't they? Well, lots of people, they like rhododendrons.
Yes, they're very beautiful. Unfortunately, they destroy the other plants. They poison the ground.
They poison the ground,
yes. And they're also very dominant. On occasion, on some of the bigger rhododendrons, they can wrap themselves around the trees and it'll break up the bark, and eventually everything will fall victim to them because they're such a dominant plant.
They strangle the trees?
They will do eventually.
Tell me what I've got to do. I'm going to take part, aren't I? Right, tell me what I have to do.
You have to grab a rhododendron and throw it on the fire.
Yeah. So now it's down to me, and a few others, to stop the dreaded tree strangler in its tracks.
You might want to handle this one.
That's great.
Okay. You all right?
Yeah, we're going. Well, it's burning all right.
Let's burn dry. Once it goes, it goes.
So what should people do if they've got rhododendrons in their garden? And they like them?
The fire, you keep them in your garden as long as you don't let them spread.
Don't let them spread.
That's
okay. There we are. Death of the rhododendrons. Bit of a tragedy, really, but there we are. I can see the argument. It's a strong one. Yeah, I always like them.
I like them too.
We're now between Loch Oich and Loch Lochay, and I feel I've held back long enough. Can I have a go?
Certainly, John.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just keep it pointing in the right direction.
How tricky is it?
Well, as long as we keep in the middle of the channel, we'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, John. This fishing boat that's heading, is this the one that's stopping the night? Over.
Who's that talking on that?
They've just confirmed with each other that we are going to be coming along here for the evening.
Oh, right, good.
Okay.
So they're expecting us.
They're expecting us,
but they're probably not expecting me to be at the wheel, are they?
They're probably not expecting you to be at the wheel, John. And they may scatter when they see that, you're in control of the boat.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. You're doing not too bad, actually.
I'm doing my best. After all my exertions, a bedtime cuppa is all I need. Until another menace arrives, the Highland midge. I'm not going to take them on. There are too many of them. I'm going to bed.
Go on, down you go. That's what I like to see. Go on. We've got 120 feet of water below us.
So that should be enough. The Caledonian Canal joins together 3 lochs. We're now crossing the last of these, Loch Lochay, on our way to Fort William. It was here in 1929 that the little-known Lochay monster was first sighted. Margaret and Tony Sargent, no relation, believe they got a great view of the monster 40 years ago. I met them at the very spot. Right, well, tell me what happened.
Well, it was an unbelievable day. We'd come up from Spearn Bridge on our way to Inverness, and as we came round the Corrigar Hotel, ahead was a wake on the water. The water was flat calm, so you didn't get all this rippling then, and it just stretched in a line. And I thought, what is that?
What did you actually see?
It was just a single hump.
It was about 2 feet out of the water.
You could have lobbed a stone on it. It was that neat.
What happened with the picture? Why could you not take it?
I had this camera,
Yeah.
which has all these, you know, fancy light readings and so on.
Yeah, so you had
which
that,
you had to
did
get
you?
right to get the picture.
You're trying to look in here.
Yes.
There's the monster.
That's right.
I'm trying to relive this.
And eventually,
Yeah?
eventually I do.
Yes, right.
And to my horror and consternation, it had just gone down. It was coming near to the end, that was the problem. And I turned around and took a picture of the wake, which was very clear and very lovely, actually.
It wasn't sort of light on the water, or it wasn't waves. It was definitely an animal.
There was a spinal column, a distinct spinal column that you could see, a ridge
Right.
running all the way down it.
Now, what about your picture you got? Let me just have a look at that.
This is the picture taken from it, the bigger
Right,
one.
so there we are. Let's just line up the hill.
This is where the water folded off. It's a single line, it's not one arm of two, it's a single line.
And what time of day was this?
About 2
2
o'clock.
o'clock in the
2
afternoon.
o'clock in the afternoon.
30th of
So,
September.
Lot was
About
flat.
now.
Lot was flat calm, completely flat calm.
You're a primary school teacher. You are a secondary school teacher, so people tend to believe what you say. And are they convinced?
Well, we are speaking the truth. If people choose not to believe it, we're sorry for them, really, because we know what we saw.
know what we saw.
And we don't know quite what it was, but we do know we saw it.
We leave Loch Lochy and its monster and approach Fort William, our final destination. This is called Neptune's Staircase. Step after step, lock after lock. After our dreamlike journey, I'm being brought back down to Earth. In 90 minutes, I'm nearly back to reality.
We've only got 2 more. Is it 2 more to go? Yeah.
Now, with all my newfound skills, I think I can honestly say I've cracked it.
Well done.
William Jessup didn't live to see the canal finished. He died in 1814, 8 years before the canal was opened. It was completed by Thomas Telford. I'm getting pretty good at handling these ropes. It's almost second nature now. Sitting beneath Ben Nevis, Britain's highest peak, Fort William is the wettest town in Britain. Nothing to boast about, but it does mean that all the water flowing over the peat bogs has given this town something rather special. Whisky. And as I'm here, it would be plain wrong not to sample some. Whisky making is a bit complicated. You need vats and things. Great smells. The canal brought in barley and yeast. You just have to add water and 500 years of experience, as John Carmichael explained.
Hello. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you,
very
Mr.
well.
Sergeant. This is our 10-year single malt. This is a beautiful little West Coast whisky. Absolutely stunning.
Now, should I gulp down a lot or
Oh,
just a
no,
tiny bit?
no. All the best things in life. Take time with it, savour it. You can never drink your whisky too slowly.
Really?
Just let it wash gently over your palate. Take your time with it.
Strong, isn't it?
Cinnamon, ginger, cardamom coming through.
Really?
Then the spice is going to disappear, soften. Underneath this, you're going to get some toffee coming through. And underneath the toffee, there'll be a little vanilla, and then just a hint of smoke coming through on the finish.
Right, I think I got the hint of smoke. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I got
That's
the
on the
rest.
finish. You've got a very well-defined palate if you're picking up the smoke. I'm impressed. Now this one has a classic Ben Nevis character.
It's pretty strong, isn't it?
Absolutely, 58% alcohols.
Shouldn't we have
Astray.
added a bit of water?
If you want to add some water, certainly. That one is just a wee bit too strong to drink
It's
on its own.
a bit too late to say that, isn't it? Isn't it sort of bad form to be drunk? I mean, I'm not drunk. no.
Absolutely.
So I'm not drunk.
Yes,
I'm just feeling it a bit. Thank you very much indeed.
Don't thank me. It's been a privilege and a pleasure meeting you in our distillery. I hope you'll come back another time and try the next 14.
Right, I will if I can. Yeah, that's I would suggest I take over at this stage, but we better get there, haven't we?
We've travelled 60 miles from Inverness, and I must say, I've enjoyed it. It's been a real experience.
We finally reached the end of the Caledonian Canal. This is the last bit. There's that little lock, and then you go into the sea lock and the sea. We've come all the way from the east coast to the west coast through this brilliant, fantastic piece of engineering completed nearly 200 years ago.
And from here, ships can make their way into the Irish Sea. Incredible to think that a canal built out of necessity should be so beautiful. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't I?
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'll be making my way along one of the most attractive canals in Britain, the Llangollen Canal. I'm looking forward to exploring some of this canal's extraordinary history and its engineering features, which 200 years ago were astonishingly bold.
It is slightly frightening, isn't it?
I'll be learning the skills of the waterways.
This is tough.
Trying my hand at ironwork.
I wish I knew what we were doing.
And taking in some of the most beautiful landscapes in Britain.
It really is spectacular. It's wonderful. We're in Wales on one of the prettiest sections of the Llangollen Canal. It's beautiful. And as we go through it, you'll see how stunning the scenery is. For the canal connoisseurs, one of the very best. But it wasn't built for beauty, and certainly not for leisurely cruises. This canal was born out of hard times and grim necessity. It had to shift slate and heavy building material out of Wales and bring back the new machinery and fancy goods from the industrial heartlands of northwest England.
I'm picking up the canal on a stretch known as the Wixle Mosses, and I'll be making my way to Ellesmere and then on to the very end of the canal at Llangollen. But first, I'm picking up a skilled boatman, John Davies, who's going to help me out with some of the more difficult manoeuvres.
Right, this is a tricky bit, isn't it?
It can be, yeah. You've got to lift up this bridge, obviously to get the boat underneath. One of us will widen the bridge up.
Which is the hardest thing to do?
The hardest thing is getting the boat through it.
Oh, well, perhaps you should do that, yeah?
Do you want me to do that?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is said these tilt bridges were designed for just one person to operate with ease. Oh, yeah?
Okay, right, it's tight. It's very tight. Whoops. You're doing well. You're doing the hard bit, although that wasn't easy. Oh, no. Right, well, now look. It says, please lower this lift bridge after use. So I'm doing that. This is tough.
Tilt bridges are derived from drawbridges, and they've been around since medieval times.
Whew. We've done it.
All right, John.
We did it. When the canal trade was flourishing at the beginning, they still had to hurry, didn't they? For them, they had to work the boats all the time.
Yeah.
They'd have been the truck drivers of their time, wouldn't
Exactly,
they?
yeah.
And they'd feel under stress.
Yeah.
Because they've got to get their cargo through.
That's right.
What do they carry?
All sorts of cargoes, stone, slate,
bricks, lime even.
Lime? Carried lime.
Lime was a vital industrial material. Lime kilns sprung up across the region. The best preserved one is at Llangollen. Glyn Gaskell helped restore it.
Well, this is the Hoffman rotary kiln, and this one has been restored recently, and as far as we know, it's the only one in the country which has got the chimney with it.
Oh, right. Right, so this stuff, this is just, well, it's perfectly ordinary limestone, isn't it?
But incredibly useful.
Yeah.
Because once it's been heated for 2 or 3 days in the kiln here at 1,000 degrees C,
Yeah.
it changes into quicklime.
It's amazing.
Magic.
Just
Absolute
cooking
magic.
the bricks. Yeah. Extraordinary. And it's moved, this quicklime, by canal.
Absolutely. It was used as a building material to make mortar.
So this, what we can see here, is actually lime mortar.
That's mortar made from lime. And the magic thing about lime mortar is that it sets underwater. So when you're building your canal and you want to build your locks or whatever, you can build it with lime mortar and it will set even if the canal's in water. These slits, as you can see all the way around, is where the coal is fed in from the top, and that provides the fuel, the heat, the energy to roast the limestone.
It was a remarkably efficient process, and before cement was used, quicklime quite literally held Britain and its canals together. Today, the Llangollen Canal is one of the most popular, attracting 15,000 boaters a year, and nearly all tourists.
You're from Holland, are you? But you've got your own canals in Holland. Yeah, right. Well, that's good, isn't it? Someone from Holland appreciating our canals. Very nice. Well, welcome. Hello. How are you doing? Is that your boat with the Dutch flag on? Yeah. You've got all those canals in Holland.
They're much wider and more boats on it.
Right.
And you can't walk like this.
Really? You're good at football, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
They may be good at football, but when it comes to canals, I reckon we've got the edge on them. That's a close one. I've got to be careful. This hat's my living.
This section of the canal is one of the oldest, completed in 1798. At that time, Ellesmere marked the end of the canal, but then the legendary engineer Thomas Telford, undaunted by the near impassable hills and valleys, set about extending the canal all the way onto Llangollen. Telford was the genius behind many of Britain's canals. He thought of every detail. Here at Ellesmere, he built a forge where metal workers could make tools and equipment. Telford also built a dry dock where boats could come in to be repaired, and it's still here today. Madeleine Bradbury and Paul Wiseman are using it to restore their boat.
Hello.
Hi.
Madeleine, how are you?
Hello.
Well, this is a magnificent boat, isn't it?
Yeah. We're really proud of her,
Are you?
actually. Yeah, we are. But we've had people looking at our pitting. It's where the black has been worn through and the steel has actually started to be undermined.
So I could say, do I say I like your pitting or I'm a bit worried about it?
Apparently this doesn't even qualify as pitting.
Oh, doesn't
which
it?
is deeply reassuring.
Right, so I say, not much pitting.
Not much pitting.
Oh, right. What about this?
Sacrificial anode. That's
Sacrificial?
put on... Sacrificial.
Why is it sacrificial?
Because it gets eaten away. When it goes on, it's all shiny.
Yes.
And then this attracts the electrolysis.
So do I say those are good anodes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just try, so I'll do this whole thing.
Okay.
Not much pitting, and those are good anodes.
Excellent, John.
Okay, all right, so we've done that bit. You're going to show me the inside, which is more your area.
Do you want to have a look?
Yes, we do.
Oh, right. I haven't tidied up or anything.
No, it doesn't matter. Right. Is that... Oh, that's all right.
Hang on tight.
We're okay.
You're done.
Right, we're here.
Okay.
Well, there's quite a bit of work to do, isn't there?
So we had a look at quite a few boats before we designed this, and we did this one for us. Bathroom.
Now, what's behind here?
Oh, bedroom.
No, wait a minute. What's this on the door?
Oh, that's her. Work in progress. I sit on the loo and look at her and...
All right.
Yeah, I paint bits out sometimes.
So you painted this?
Yes, I painted
Did
this.
Paul ask you to do that, or...?
No, I do nudes on my lampshades.
Now, what do you think, Paul?
Well, when I'm sitting there, John, I sort of contemplate, and...
It's a bit on the saucy side, is it?
Well, it's quite... Well, is it saucy?
No.
They love it. She's not saucy.
No, all right.
Have you ever seen a woman look like that?
Well, not this week, no.
Right, okay.
Next door to the dry dock is Thomas Telford's forge. Telford was a groundbreaking engineer, one of the very first to build structures out of iron. Here at Ellesmere, many of the metal parts he used to bridge this canal into Wales were made. Today, the forge is run by blacksmith and metalworker Rowan Taylor.
Hello.
How do you do?
Hello, Rowan. Well, it's wonderful, isn't it? This is a traditional...
It was built in 1805 by Thomas Telford as part of the extension of the canal from here up to Llangollen.
Right. It's amazing that it's still here, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's pretty much unchanged.
For you, what's the excitement? What's the interest?
Making things. I get to make things out of metal using fire. It's great.
You're not an ordinary blacksmith, are you?
Well, I'm a canal-side blacksmith, so
Yeah.
I do restoration work for the canals, obviously, because there's a lot of old ironwork that needs maintaining and repairing.
Everything, all the technologies is 18th century technology.
Pretty much, yeah. There's no point in repairing 18th century ironwork with an arc welder.
This is a forge from the Industrial Revolution, isn't it?
It is, yes.
It's industrial archaeology at one level, but it lives, though.
It does, yes. It's not a museum exhibit, it's actually a running business.
This is a difficult question, but do you think I might be able to help you in some way?
Pretty sure you can give me a hand.
Do you think so?
I do, yeah. I'll have to change your hat, though, because
Right.
I'll catch fire.
Catch fire?
Yeah.
All right, OK. Right, that's the hat.
Give you some attractive safety specs as well.
All right.
In case anything spits out of the fire and hits you in the face.
All right. What do I need this for?
That'll be to stop your nice shirt burning.
Well, I'm already half a blacksmith because I've got the gear on.
There we go.
Oh, a bit tight. No, it's OK. Perfectly all right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to rake this up a little bit.
OK. Whew. It is hot work, isn't it?
It is, yes. We're not even started yet.
We haven't started. Well, I already feel like a drink. Yeah.
I'll get a little bit slow so you can see what I'm doing as well.
Right.
So it looks like that.
OK, well, you've got to have a very
Happy
good
to
eye,
help.
haven't you?
You do, yes. It does help. You've got to be good with shapes and sizes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm that good with shapes and sizes, but this is quite frightening, isn't it? What if I make a mistake?
Let's hope you don't.
Oh.
Telford's ironwork was made in this way.
This could hurt someone, couldn't it?
It could.
OK, right, we're here.
Right, there are your marks.
OK, ready?
Off you go.
A lot of sweat and a lot of muscle. Heating iron until white hot and then hammering it into shape.
I wish I knew what we were doing. I'm banging, but I've got no idea.
Do say if you want to stop though, and I'll...
No, I want to carry on. I want to succeed. OK?
Are you happy with what you're doing? Can I leave you alone for a
Yeah,
bit?
no, that's fine. I just go on banging, yeah?
Yeah, just keep on as you were.
Oh, whoops. I'm glad he's gone. It's nearly there. Whoops. Well, I'm not saying it was easy, no. But we did it. Look, we did it.
I carry on from Ellesmere and head towards Chirk. My exertions at the forge have left me quite exhausted. My aching bones are reminding me of just how tiring life would have been on the canals 200 years ago. It was all hard graft, but today a canal boat is one of the most leisurely experiences there is, and one of the most soothing places to fall asleep. Morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
What a lovely morning.
Oh, dear, that's nice.
No salt. I mean, what's the point of breakfast without salt? It's been a great trip so far. It started with me lifting the lift bridge. Then we had the dry docks and the forge at Ellesmere. I tried my hand at metalwork, nearly lost my hand. And now we're looking forward to the high point of the trip, the great aqueduct across the River Dee.
This stretch covers one of the most ambitious pieces of canal engineering. First, there are tunnels which give way to some idyllic countryside.
I like this. I like this a lot. It really is spectacular. It's wonderful. Hello. Lovely flowers, aren't they? You're coming out to the meadow. And of course now we're getting the lovely wildflowers. Every summer my wife teaches me the main flowers, and every autumn I forget. So I have to go through the whole thing. Every year, what's that?
Just see the aqueduct there through the trees.
Right, it's somewhere away, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just a glimpse, get us in the mood. How do you pronounce it?
Pontcasofte.
I can't do it. Anyway, it's the spectacular aqueduct coming up.
The Pontcasofte aqueduct was opened in 1805 and was one of the most impressive engineering feats of its day. It's considered to be one of Thomas Telford's finest creations.
I've just recommended an aqueduct of iron. It has been approved and will be executed under my direction upon a principle entirely new.
That new engineering breakthrough was the use of iron. It took Telford 10 years to build this aqueduct, and the iron trough containing the canal is supported by pillars 126 feet high, carrying the canal through the air for over 1,000 feet.
Well, at last we're here, aren't we? What a sight. Our 20-ton boat is now just heading out over the abyss. Here, it's as if the boat is flying across.
Telford's aqueduct has stood as a landmark to man's ingenuity for over 200 years.
We don't seem to be supported for anything. We can't see how we're supported. We're in a canal boat, but the sensation is one of being in the air. It is slightly frightening, isn't it? Because there I can't see anything. I think I'll stay on this side. That just plunges down. We're flying across the Dee Valley. Oh, and by the way, with us is a 20-ton canal boat, and one calm person, that's you, and one overexcited person, that's me. It's one of the greatest pieces of canal engineering that you can ever see anywhere in Britain. This is the the best crossing of a valley I've ever done. How do you do it? Well, you do it on a canal boat. It's terrific.
In the 19th century, the use of iron would transform our lives. It was a time for new experiments and discoveries, as the industrial age took giant strides into the future. As the century rolled on, in Wales and across Britain, the iron horse took over.
Look after us here, are you?
We'll try.
Soon, a train network spread to all parts of the country. But this didn't destroy the canals. Many of the train companies bought up parts of the canal network and ran both businesses in tandem. Canals continued to be used right up until after the Second World War for hauling goods. And after all that fire-stoking, smoke, steam, heat and noise, I have to say that the canal wins hands down. Canals are peaceful, relaxing. They run to their own tune. They go about their business quietly and modestly, without all the commotion of locomotion.
This looks a bit difficult. Sorry about this. We're heading for a collision, aren't we? Okay, we've only got a few minutes to live. It's all over. What are we going to do? It's all gone wrong. Perhaps you can come in here. All right, will that be all right? Okay. I think I've sorted this. You'll be all right. Down a bit on the left. Down a bit more on the right. Just a bit of organisation. With a bit of help, you've got it. You made it.
John Sargent.
Yeah.
It is. Look at him, John.
Llangollen marks the end of the canal. Here in the early 1800s, the wharf would have been packed with narrow boats being loaded with slate from the quarries. This canal gave Llangollen a vital lifeline, bringing wealth and work.
Oh, John, I'm afraid it's goodbye.
Thanks very much.
Goodbye, John.
And thanks for putting up with the jokes.
Oh, they were very funny.
It's given me a trip of a lifetime. But then, perhaps I'm just old-fashioned. Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't I?
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm travelling along the Grand Union Canal. It's certainly grand. It's Britain's longest canal, 137 miles in length. And it's also a union of several different waterways joined together. On the way, we'll be legging it through a tunnel.
And how difficult is that?
Exploring a secret army base and becoming a trusted crew member.
I could nip off and take the whole cargo.
And as well as all that, I'll be taking in the sights, in the country and in the town.
All canals were serious projects. They were very expensive to build, but vital for commerce. This canal linked London with the second city, Birmingham, and you can't get more serious than that. But as we go along it, that won't stop us, I think, having a bit of fun.
200 years ago, The only way to make sure that Birmingham and London could both flourish was to link them together with a special waterway. But it wouldn't be easy, it would be expensive and difficult. I'm starting out at Braunston, 45 miles southeast of Birmingham.
Morning. Morning, John.
My skippers for the first leg of the canal, Bernie Morris and Hamish Brown, both fly aircraft, so it's chocks away for a speedy takeoff. This part of the canal was opened in 1805, and you've got to be very careful with all the bits and pieces that have been lovingly restored.
And a shot of reverse to stop us hitting the far bank.
Okay. That much. You've got to have faith.
Before very long, we see some of the problems facing the canal builders. Water doesn't go uphill, it needs a lock. And then there's a hillside, and that needs a tunnel. This one is over a mile long. There's no towpath, so boats had to be legged through.
So, Hamish,
hello.
Could you help us with this bit?
Well, we'll try. We're just going to balance this board across.
Yeah.
I would be out here.
Right, okay.
And I would be walking. The horses are upstairs.
The horses are
walking over the top.
And you're just walking on, and I'm doing the same thing on the other side.
And you'd be on the other side doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing.
Special crews of leggers would carry out this back-breaking work.
Once you got the thing working.
But for the past 100 years, boats have had engines, thank goodness.
Well, I think that's brilliant. Are you all right, Bernie?
Yeah, fine.
All right, now you can fire up the engine.
Okay, and take control again.
Yeah, take control. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Whoops. Whoops.
Right, watch out, John. This one might jump.
So here we are. Bernie.
Brace yourself.
What's Bernie up to?
I think we're seeing that twist in the tunnel.
Now, what's that?
That's an air hole.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Looks like a giant chimney, doesn't it? Going all the way up.
All the way up. So that's just to let the ventilation.
Let the ventilation through.
And there's the towpath coming up.
Yeah. And we're out. We've seen it. We've done it.
We're out.
Well done.
In the sunshine, in the warmth.
It's nice, isn't it, coming out? Yeah, makes you feel better.
I think we're back in onto there, don't you?
All right.
Manoeuvring a canal boat can be quite difficult. We need a retired airline pilot.
I think I'll leave this to you, Bernie.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
What we have to do now is plan the next part of our trip.
Right, well, we're here, and we're going to Wiedenbeck Marina, aren't we?
Yeah.
So what's that?
Well, a military depot, it says, but it's cut off, isn't it, with waterway in there.
Yeah. What is that? Have you been there?
I've not been there, no.
No, neither have I.
For 3 men in a boat, this has to be investigated. The map showed a small military branch of the canal near a place called Wiedenbeck.
Well, there we are. Isn't it amazing?
What was this branch of the canal used for?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Well, can you show us round?
Of course I can. That is the gatehouse.
Yeah?
And it was the original entrance for the canal connection from the Grand Union to actually get inside the depot.
The military built the depot on this site in 1803, when they were concerned about a possible French invasion. For most of its history, this was a highly secret military installation, vital for the country's defence. Civilians, keep out.
Can we come in?
Yes, indeed.
The location was key, lying plumb in the middle of England. It was easy for distributing arms across the nation, yet furthest from any coast and invading forces.
Well, here's the canal. This is the centrepiece inside the depot.
And it comes through here?
Yes, through the gatehouse.
So what would have happened if I'd have turned up and tried to get up here in my boat when the canal was open through to here?
You wouldn't have got by any way through the portcullis without being challenged by Halt, who goes there.
So what would have been in these storage places?
Well, it would have been small arms, muskets originally, then rifles.
What I think's amazing is how, when you've got something like this, Anywhere you're going to move lots of stuff around.
Yes.
You need a canal then?
Yes.
And this is...
Yes.
So you can't have this without the canal.
Yes.
And there it is.
Well, there we are. Up to 1880s, it was the only form of getting in any heavy amounts of armament until the railways connected.
So in amazing, this is a lost world, isn't it? A part of the canal, and the part of the canal system that nobody knows about, and yet here it is, all run down and decrepit, but sort of marvellous too.
Back aboard, we're on our way south again, heading towards our second tunnel today, the Blissworth Tunnel. It's nearly 2 miles long, one of the longest in the country.
Right, I'll see you later.
Okay.
I'm jumping off, leaving Bernie and Hamish to go through, while I walk over the top with historian Hilary Spurrier. We're taking the route the horses used to take. The line of the tunnel is clearly shown by the tall chimneys. They were an important safety feature.
What have we got here?
Well, this is a ventilation shaft, which was put in to make sure that when people were going through the tunnel, there was sufficient air.
They're great structures, aren't they?
They are very, very sturdy structures. They're quite a landmark in this area.
And inside the tunnel, these vents create shafts of light. It's the only natural light in the tunnel. Blue from the sky, a few glimpses of the outside world.
It's fantastic. The most important engineering project of its day. So much was being produced in the north of England, which the south of England wanted to buy. Wedgwood pottery, Spode china, cotton from Manchester, woolen cloth from Leeds, simple things like soap.
And coal, of course.
And coal, absolutely. And there was a major barracks just up the road at Weedon.
Yes, the Weedon depot.
The Weedon depot, and the building of the canal made it much easier to move things from Weedon down to London and then across to France.
This was the most difficult section of the entire waterway, and the last to be finished. It took an astonishing 12 years to build.
It looks like there's a space just this side of the lock mooring.
Okay, try and hand this over to you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Now, about 50 miles southeast of Birmingham, we arrive in the beautiful village of Stoke Bruin.
Okie doke, cheerio, thanks very much.
Sadly, here I have to say goodbye to 3 men in a boat. This section may look a bit wiggly, but when it was built, this was the motorway of its time. I'm picking up my new boat just outside Milton Keynes. Kevin Cousins is my skipper.
We're off. We're going to pump it a bit, aren't we?
Yeah. No, you're okay.
They look as if they're all settled there nicely, aren't they?
Yeah.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, time for a drink. I won't point out it's before 6 o'clock, you know, and therefore they shouldn't be drinking this early, should they? Won't be saying that, no. Isn't it a bit early to drink? Another quarter of an hour, isn't it?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
The sun is over in yard. Okay, all right, okay, that's all right.
It's not surprising that we see trains on this trip. The main line and the canal often run side by side. It's the best practical route from Birmingham to London.
Right, what's that boat over there?
Oh, that one, they travel round selling cheeses.
Cheeses?
Yeah, Welsh cheese, I think, most of it is, of various different flavours.
The reverse.
It's time to put into effect my newfound mooring skills. I'm a natural. Is self-congratulation in order?
No, I think that's okay. Right, well done.
That's very enough.
It's not easy having to impress people all day with your fitness. I'm a little tired. I just want to go to bed. I'm on the Grand Union Canal, halfway between Birmingham and London. And life is good.
Perfect morning. British weather. It's always like this. Oh,
I need some cheese.
Geraldine Prescott runs a tight ship, I'm told, and doesn't suffer fools gladly, which could be tricky.
Right, well, you've got a lot of cheese here.
I certainly have. We've got 14 flavours. Now, Welsh cheese, but what's she going to use it for?
Well, I'm trying to make a cheese omelette this morning. Is it an ordinary, simple bit of cheese to put with the omelette?
Fine, yes. That's one I would recommend.
That's the one?
Yes.
Okay, right. Why are all these cheese from Wales?
Well, we have got to specialise in some form or the other.
Yes.
There's over 400 cheesemakers.
Yeah.
And we tasted these cheeses, and we liked them so much we decided to stick with Wales.
And up and down the canal, is it just canal users who come?
Oh, no, they come from far and wide.
So it's a nice little floating business.
It's a wonderful business.
Yeah, and do you make lots of money?
But we're enough to keep us comfortable.
That's good. I've got to go.
Put that in there so the wax doesn't melt. There we go.
That's good.
Thank you very
Thanks
much
very
indeed.
much.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good day.
Well, it's the Welsh cheese that makes it, and eating outside. That's something. My next stop is Frogmore Mill in Apsley. It's interesting because once again we can see how important the canal was.
The canal system had an extraordinary effect on industry and commerce. Fortunes could be made in a few years by owners of factories like this, fortunate to have a link with the Grand Union Canal.
This paper factory, Frogmore Mill, stands beside the canal on a site chosen by one of Britain's greatest industrialists. His name was John Dickinson, a tough and shrewd businessman who founded a paper-making empire.
The Dickinson Company was one of the first to use a continuous process to make paper on machines like this. It grew into the biggest company in the world making paper and stationery.
John Dickinson's factories were powered by water wheels. But when the Grand Union Canal was built, it took away the river water, forcing his factories to switch to coal power, which was expensive. But Dickinson wouldn't be defeated. He took legal action to force the company to divert the canal past his factories. Then he mounted a successful campaign to get the government to lift the tax on coal.
This coal tax is a flagrant wrong, bearing severely on the poorer classes who have great need of cheap fuel. It is utterly subversive of the principle of free trade in an important necessity of life.
After the coal tax was lifted, paper mills in this area boomed.
It's amazing what was the commercial backbone of the canal system is now so beautiful and so peaceful. We've had a great trip. We started at Braunston, 45 miles away, with that legging through the tunnel. I like that. Then we went to that secret military depot, and I like the way we went over the hill to see the ventilation shafts. That was terrific. And now here we are, off towards London.
Approaching Watford, we start to come across more and more canal boats with people living aboard. The London effect. Coal was once the lifeblood of this canal. And today, Phil Routledge and his dog Sprite still deliver coal on a much smaller scale, along with diesel and gas. It's a lifeline to the canal dwellers.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, Phil?
I'm fine, thank you.
Are you?
A bit tired at the moment.
Can I help?
If you'd like to hold that a minute.
Okay, I'll hold this, yeah?
Back in the deck.
I could nip off, take the whole cargo, but I won't.
Right. I was tempted to take the boat.
No, she won't get far.
Right, well, I'm going to come on.
Yeah, if you can, if you want to get on and just stand on here and hold on to the rail, you should be safe.
All working boats were once like this, with cramped accommodation and a maximum space for cargo. It's a far from comfortable life. But admirably, Phil is keeping alive the character and tradition of the canal.
But it's very hard work, isn't it? I mean, what you've got to shift from here.
Yeah.
So that is like the old...
Oh, yeah.
Like the old...
Well, in the old days, it was harder. Sprite, it was all loose coal, so they had to shovel it out by hand.
So that would have been back-breaking work.
Yeah.
But you have to work hard, then, don't you?
Well, it is, yeah, it is. It's not easy. It is hard work, but...
Do you often think about the men who used to work on these canals?
Yes, I mean, it's nice to keep the canal system alive, and the boats work, especially these old boats, keeping them going is what part of it's all about.
And here we go. It's quite heavy. That's all right, come on. Hello.
Oh, darling.
You don't need any fuel?
When are you back?
I'm in there next week.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Hiya.
Morning.
Lovely, isn't it?
Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
What I like about canal life is the peace, the tranquility, the serenity.
What's your name?
Jacqueline.
So, did you find out, is it nice, the idea of someone? Shush! Right, that's it now. Oh. Right, which is just... Wait for a moment. This is getting a bit...
So are you on board all day today?
Depends if Phil gets fed up with us.
I'm not sure he will.
You don't think...
I can't hear anything because of Jenny.
Well, have a nice day, Phil.
Okay,
cheers.
Let me untie you.
No, I think we've got to, haven't we, Phil? We've got to get working. We can't.
We have, yes.
We can't spend the whole day chatting. You know, we're working boatmen, aren't we? Okay.
There we are.
Thank you. See you
Thanks
later.
very much.
Okie dokie. Thanks very much. See you later.
Okay.
I leave Phil and Sprite for the last leg of the Grand Union Canal, which will take me into the heart of London. I'm going to hitch a lift at Park Royal with Alan Miles, a London fireman.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, John.
Thanks for letting me go on your boat.
Pleasure.
It's
Come
great.
aboard.
Enough dogs, haven't we?
Yeah. This is Bill, Ben and George.
Hello, Bill, Ben and George. Okay. Pull them in, yeah. So what are we coming up to?
We're going over this aqueduct, which is, oddly enough, over the A406, North Circular.
Right, so this really is the entrance to London.
It is really, yeah.
Right. Well, I know that route pretty well. This is the North Circular, as I've never seen it before. I like the difference in our speed. It makes you feel as if we're doing it right. What a way to cross the North Circular. And this is, in a way, this is the secret way into London, isn't it?
Yeah.
For Alan, the boat is much more than a choice of transport. It's a way of life.
I bought the boat, I live on it, and it was a lot cheaper than trying to get on the housing ladder. On my off-duty days, I tend to take the boat out. I'll go up the Thames or take it down to Little Venice and have a poodle around. That's the beauty of living on your boat, is being able to move.
Go where you want to go. Hello.
Bill? No. Too late.
They've gone.
I'll let them have a little run for a minute and then get them back on.
He wants to go too, doesn't he? They're having a good time.
This is the strangest route I've ever taken into London. Natural beauty alongside ugly graffiti. I don't like that. And we seem to be the only boat on the canal.
All starts to get a bit more noisy.
A bit more London, isn't it?
Yeah,
buses and the old gasometers.
Right, on you come. Come on. I love how these houses on the left come down to the waterside.
Old London, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course, there's the famous Trent Tower. We're going to pull over on the left in a minute, a little pub, pick up my girlfriend. She's just finished work.
What does she do?
She's a chef.
That's a secret signal?
That's a secret signal. She knows I'm coming around the corner.
Hello, hi. I'm very good.
Good work.
How are you?
Good. This is John.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Very
How are you
nice to meet
doing?
you.
What do you want to get picked up after work?
How do you find it, Jess, living on the boat? It is sort of romantic, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. No, that is the right answer. So, bridge number 2, we're approaching the end.
We've slipped unnoticed into one of the busiest capital cities. No hold-ups, no traffic lights, no road rage.
Paddington Station, here we are.
What a spectacular ending. An explosion of new buildings, and all of them proud to be part of a brand new scheme which celebrates the canal. And now, the draw of the canal is greater than ever.
We've reached the end of a terrific journey. I have enjoyed it. One thing I have learned for certain, the best way to travel between Birmingham and London is by canal.
Across Britain, there's a hidden network of canals, more than 2,000 miles long. Many of them cut through some of the most stunning scenery. And in this series, I've chosen 8 canal trips, the very best, from the west coast of Scotland to the southwest of England.
I'm going to take part, aren't I?
I'll be exploring their stories.
Am I helping?
Discovering why and how they were built.
A spectacular piece of engineering.
And looking at their impact as Britain moved into the industrial age. On this trip, I'm going to be exploring part of the amazing labyrinth of canals in the West Midlands, the beating heart of Britain's canal network. I'll be delving into the past to answer the question, why did the name Birmingham come to mean quality, excellence and good value? I'll be trying to buy some guns and end up in a hidden cavern underground, enough to excite any James Bond villain.
I'm in Worcestershire, on my way to Birmingham, the middle of the country, and in canal terms, the centre of the world, the network hub. There are more canals in Birmingham than there are in Venice. All these canals go into the city. It's a bit of a knotty problem, but I'm sure I can sort it out.
I'm starting off on this trip near the village of Alvechurch, just 16 miles south of Birmingham. And I'll be making my way right into the centre of the city. But I'll need some help from my expert skipper, Lester State.
That's a bit of a close one, isn't it?
Very close.
Off we go to Birmingham, and it'll all soon be it's sort of industrial.
It'll be very, very different indeed.
Hello, good morning. We're going ahead now, if you don't mind.
I find it valuable on occasion to speak to animals firmly in English. Sometimes they won't listen.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Wherever we are, there's the canal and the fields. If you said to people, oh, here we are, near Birmingham, you wouldn't believe it, would you?
That's right.
So beautiful.
Just a few miles away from the city centre of Birmingham, and you've got this beautiful countryside.
Yeah. But this is the way to see it, though, isn't it? From the canal, you can get the full force. It is a force of the English countryside. In summer, it just looks fabulous.
Fantastic.
What an idyllic scene. Should be on a chocolate box. Hold on, we're already here. Bourneville, the home of Cadbury's chocolate. It's been here for ages. Mr. Cadbury needed the canal to bring cocoa from the ports, milk from the local farms, and the milk tray? I've no idea. Cadbury called it Bourneville. Sounds French. Give it a bit of class. You could say milk tray bon.
Right, well, thanks very much. We'll see you later.
OK, John.
OK.
Bye for now.
George Cadbury didn't want his workers simply stuffing themselves with chocolate buttons and curly whirlies, so he provided them with a healthy place to live. Gillian Ellis looks after the estate at Bourneville. By 1900, it was a flourishing company town with everything provided.
He was the man with the plan, wasn't it?
Yes, he believed that if he gave his workers decent homes, decent gardens, shops, communities, open spaces, they'd be happier, they'd be healthier, they'd be more motivated to do a better day's work and be more productive for him, yes.
I should imagine a lot of present-day factory workers would think, if only I could live in a place like this.
I think I would agree with you there, yes. I think people would think that.
I mean,
yes.
in a way, it was better in those days.
Yes, I think it probably was, yeah.
Of course, all this came at a price. Everyone knew their place. The big houses went to the top brass. Still, it all looks very nice today.
So here we've got all the shops that a community would need. Newsagents, bakers, butchers, toy shops, flower shop, everything you need.
But what about pubs? Oh no, Cadbury was a Quaker and wouldn't allow them. But exercise, you could have as much as you like.
This is the Cadbury factory. You can see we've got a fantastic expanse of the factory and dining block. And then to the right here we've got a fantastic sports pavilion that George built.
This scene was famous, wasn't it?
That's right, they used it for advertising their chocolate.
Even I can remember that. Young as I am, I can remember that. A different world.
But what happened to the bloke who used to ski down the Matterhorn, climb through a window with a curtain blowing, all because some woman fancied chocolates? What happened to him?
Welcome aboard, John.
Yes, thank you.
I could have done that instead of that bloke. Admittedly, not as glamorous, perhaps not as fast, but if she wanted chocolates, I could have brought them in a narrowboat. And not just one box of milk tray, I could have given her 20 tons of the stuff. We're heading from Bourneville into the centre of Birmingham, the heart of Britain's canal network. The fortunes of Birmingham were made by its canals. With no natural resources or raw materials, everything had to be brought in from outside the city. But once the first canal was begun, over 20 others soon followed, making up a huge waterway network connecting with the rest of the country. Birmingham overtook Venice in the length of its canals, 174 miles in all. The Italians had gondolas, ice creams, and some of the finest Renaissance buildings in the world. But Birmingham had locks, a few tunnels, and one of the most distinctive regional accents on earth. Also, unlike most canals, here there are signposts.
Look at this. We've got 3 canals joining up here. You see what the problem was for the canal builders to bring all these together. And we had the same problem in our day, because this road is the M6, and this is Spaghetti Junction.
Known as the Liquid Way, canals linked Birmingham to the whole country. If they were in a real hurry, narrowboats could reach London in 3 days and nights, and Lancashire in 2. For quite a short period of around 50 years, canals were the answer to Britain's transport problems. For cities such as Birmingham, it was boom time. The population doubled. In recent years, Birmingham's had to try hard to put some of the glamour back into the gloom.
So this is really the start of canal development. They've cleaned it out.
Oh,
looks good.
It's magnificent.
Birmingham decided that the centre of their city would become more exciting, more fashionable, if they made a feature of their canal system. And they're now proud of it.
That's fine, John. You can put it in neutral now.
The famous Gas Street Basin, one of the first areas to get the newfangled gas lighting system, is where 2 of the canal companies were locked in conflict. No boat could pass. They didn't want to share their canals, let alone the water in them. A solid barrier was built. It became a clash of the titans. Pig-headed? Yes. I'd call it narrow-minded.
Hello.
Hello, John. I think the weather's going to be kind to us.
It better be. Anyway, you're going to show us around.
I'll be delighted.
Historian and author Graham Fisher gives me the background.
Well, this is the famous Worcester Bar. It was a physical barrier between the Worcester and Birmingham Canal and the fledgling Birmingham Canal Navigations Company. Right. And the actual bar itself still exists. You can see where the boats are moored there. There is a physical barrier.
Why did they do that? Why do they want to stop the traffic coming down here, not just going straight on through?
Water was a precious commodity that the companies didn't want to lose. It was their lifeblood.
I think that's what people are surprised about, that you think all this water, we've got plenty of water, it rains, that's okay, but canals leak, don't they?
They leak.
And you need to keep topping them up.
There's an awful lot of usage.
So eventually they saw sense, and you then could come from here right the way through?
Right the way through.
But that took, what, until 1815?
1815, yes.
Oh, right. Well, that's good. We've got the old and the new here, haven't we?
Absolutely. What a wonderful juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Behind us we have the Worcester and Birmingham Canal. Ahead, the main line of the Birmingham Canal Navigations. And around us, this wonderful blend of the old and the new, some of which has survived for over 200 years, and some of which has sprung up in the last 30 years.
Well, it's terrific.
Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
So it's jolly good.
The Gas Street Basin would once have teemed with activity, with goods coming in from all over the country. Birmingham became one of the workplaces of the world, the city of 1,000 trades and about 1 billion bricks. It's been a long day. Time for some refreshment. Just one cornetto? Perhaps not.
I was hoping to order a takeaway. Is that okay? Well, a ball tea would be nice. Medium, I think. Better be on the safe side. I think we're a large bottle, don't you think?
Hello, sir. From
Hello. Thanks very much.
I'm in the heart of Britain's canal system. Canals made Birmingham, and Birmingham made almost everything else. Now I can sit here quietly sipping my, what's it called? Cappuccino, Americano, flat white, flat cap, I don't know. But 200 years ago, this would have been busy, busy, busy. A greater variety of products were made here than in any other city in the world. I'm off to look at one of them. Wesley Richards is one of the finest gun makers in Britain. They've been making guns here for over 200 years. Anthony Albrecht Tregear is a director of the company.
This is terrific. How important was the gun industry to Birmingham?
It was hugely important. I mean, it made up the whole industry here. Gun makers, cutlers, everybody involved in the arms industry, supplying the military, the empire, everything. It was huge, massive.
How important was the canal network to produce that effect?
That was very important indeed, because there were no raw materials here in Birmingham. So everything had to come into this industrial heartland to actually manufacture these goods to then send back out again via the canals to the ports, export out around the rest of the empire.
Guns were big business. In the run-up to the Battle of Waterloo, millions of guns were made here. 2/3 of all those used by the British Army. Everything here is precision-made by hand, perfecting skills passed on from generation to generation. Made in Birmingham meant quality and innovation. Wesley Richards invented several of the key advances in gun making.
This was one of the very first locking mechanisms to actually lock a gun shut.
Right.
Based on the top lever and this locking system here.
Okay, right. So there we are. Bang. Right.
And then the rear trigger, there's
so
your
that's the
left barrel.
first one, so I've missed that.
Yeah, you've missed that.
But I've got another chance, so...
Exactly.
Bang! We've definitely got it now, haven't we?
Yeah, excellent.
Whatever it is, pour it.
Yeah. Most of what we do today is for show. It's for people who are collecting sort of artisans' skilled work.
They're probably a strange lot, aren't they?
They are, yes, and they're a strange, wealthy lot is what I would probably say.
I think I could be one of those clients. I could do with these. Because these are for binoculars, aren't they?
That's correct, yes they are.
And I'll need to be able to see what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks terrific.
Yeah, nice piece that.
Yeah, so...
Like the look of that?
Do you?
Yeah, perfect.
Really?
This here is a very traditional Wesley Richards 20 gauge shotgun.
Yeah. And could I hit something with this?
That's all down to the man behind it, I have to say.
Oh, right. And how much would this be?
That's about 45.
45?
Yeah, moving along here, we have a very nice rifle of ours, takedown again, something that might suit you.
Yeah.
That's 70. Here we have an alligator case here, alligator covered case.
Alligator?
Yeah, and inside exhibition grade shotguns. You're looking at 150 for that pair. And then we have this one here. Note the diamonds in there.
Diamonds?
Diamonds.
It's a treasure chest.
It's an absolute piece of art.
And how much would this cost?
250.
250?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think I'd like all of them.
No, fantastic. Well, you're looking about 515, so if we say £500,000?
£500,000.
£500,000, yeah.
Birmingham's firepower was essential in making and expanding the empire. Trade followed the flag, and the whole enterprise provided big business for Birmingham. Keeping it all going was a stream of inventions. One of the most remarkable innovators was a company called Bolton and Watt.
Well, the wind's behind us now.
It is true. We're doing all right.
Their name would be stamped on one of the greatest inventions of the age. I'm going to see where their factory stood.
This is the tiny entrance from the canal to take boats into the foundry, isn't it? Hello.
Andrew Lound is a historian who's helped preserve the Bolton and Watt archives.
For a time, this was the only steam engine manufacturer in the world, is it right?
Yes, it was. From 1796 when it opened, for a long period of time, this was the principal works on the planet for manufacturing steam engines.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Oh, it's quite fantastic.
So
really.
this is one of the great sites of the Industrial Revolution.
This is the site that gives the Industrial Revolution the power, the energy to drive itself forward. And that was the critical part of it.
And the man behind that, genius?
He is James Watt.
The
great James Watt himself.
Now, he's the man, that's when we talk about light bulbs.
Yes.
And we talk about how many watts.
Yes, it's James
him.
Watt.
James Watt could not only see the bright future for machines, he could build them.
I have invented certain new methods of steam engines to thereby give motion to wheels of mills and other machines. These engines replace water, wind and horse, and they are placed wherever it is most convenient for the manufacturer. The people of London, Manchester and Birmingham are steam mill mad.
Bolton, Watt and Sons opened the Soho foundry. It's no exaggeration to say this is where history was made. Watt's genius was the driving force. Without him, the engineering revolution could have taken a generation longer. Watt's steam engines were transported from his factory along the canals and out to the world. At the same time, raw materials streamed back into Birmingham: coal, iron ore and limestone. Limestone was vital, and much of it was mined here, just northeast of Birmingham, at Dudley. Beneath Castle Hill lies a vast labyrinth of limestone mines, which were connected to the canal. Once the stone has been dug out, it just has to be heated to produce quicklime. This unique part of Birmingham's canal system has become an attraction and is managed by Sarah Fellows.
Yeah.
You're going to show me, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very small, isn't it?
It is, yes. You can't take a normal canal boat through our tunnel. You have to take one of our special trip boats.
And this would have been the start of a very long day, wouldn't it?
A very long day, yeah. They'd come down here in the mornings when it was dark. They'd come back out at night when it was dark, and they'd never see the sunshine.
An incredible amount of hard work.
Yeah, I mean, the only light they had was candles, and they were expensive, so you just couldn't use them. You just walked through the dark.
At last, we've come through the first stretch of the tunnel, and now it's nice, isn't it? Come on, feel that. We're in paradise. It's terrific.
Yeah, this is Shirtsmill Basin, which is one of the open basins on the canal. It would have been a cavern originally with a roof, but because they mined too close to the surface, it became unstable, so they had to bring the roof down, and it became this sort of open.
Because they've taken all the limestone from there.
This next basin is my favourite. This is Castlemill Basin. You can forget you're in Dudley when you're down here.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
This may not be one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, but it's pretty good. For Dudley, it's hanging in there.
It's strange how these things are built for a completely different purpose look so beautiful. Hanging gardens.
Yes, the hanging gardens of Dudley.
Yeah. Now this looks real dark, all of this dug out, so all the lime removed, and then as they've moved the limestone, they're just working their way into the hillside, aren't they?
Yeah, all the tunnels are here just to bring the limestone out.
Our final destination, largest remaining cave, the so-called Singing Cavern.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Bond. You are a little bit late. You have arrived in time now to see the whole system at work. What a theatre, a natural theatre.
A fantastic place to perform, yeah.
I feel an urge already.
Mining here finished about 100 years ago.
This is terrific.
But the cavern, with its superb acoustics, lives on as a popular venue for concerts.
This is terrific. And this is where there's a performance, isn't there, that you come on here?
Yes, we have shows here throughout the year, and our next one is an Edwardian music hall.
And are you taking part in that?
I am, yes.
If I go to the opera house in the opera season, there's someone sure to shout at me without the slightest reason. If I go to a concert hall to have a jolly spree, there's someone in the party who is sure to shout at me. Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that style? Isn't it a jolly one and just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go they shout hello, where did you get that hat?
And that's the perfect end of our canal trip.
And what a great trip. We've unravelled the city's waterways and discovered, yes, Britain's new Venice.